All eyes on Ida as alerts span the heart of the Gulf Coast. Communities along shore and inland will face threats from wind, rain, and flooding this weekend and into early next week.
The dangers are both inside and outside the forecast track, from the beaches to the plains and beyond the mid-Mississippi Valley. You need to prepare for this storm, and bottom line, there's just not a lot of time left to do that.
Understand that the Hurricane Center and the meteorologists are very concerned about this storm because they see all the conditions necessary for it to strengthen very, very rapidly. And we don't have a 5, 6, 7 day advance notice where we would do all of our H-hour sequencing across the state of Louisiana, working with all of the local officials and so forth.
Well, thank you for trusting the Weather Channel and getting you through this host of alerts and concerns as Ida continues to bear down on families along the Gulf Coast.
We are also tracking severe thunderstorms that are moving through other neighborhoods, too. We'll provide you with the timing you need as well. But first, the big storm is Ida and the preparations being made before it arrives.
Long lines already both at gas stations and grocery stores around the New Orleans metro as people prepare for Tropical Storm Ida, soon to be Hurricane Ida. Some stores are struggling to keep basic supplies stocked like water and bread. Ida is now forecast to be a major hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour when it approaches the northern Gulf Coast. More than 2 million people under a hurricane watch, and that does include New Orleans. So we're going to send it over to Jen. This is the latest update that we have from the National Hurricane Center. It just came in.
The new advisory just came in here, so there are some changes. The winds have increased. Right now, we have winds at 65 miles per hour, and the track has changed as well. Not necessarily in terms of where. The cone has not changed. It's the intensity at landfall has changed, now up to 120 miles per hour. So we are looking at a Cat 3 still, but we're looking at a stronger Cat 3 that then was forecast before. And this is based on what we know about the conditions in the Gulf of Mexico, how warm the water is, what a good environment it is for strengthening of a system, unfortunately, right? So the hurricane watch is up, and you can see that does include Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Grand Isle, Gulfport in Mississippi, and then we've got the tropical storm watch on either side of that here, and inland too. So we're looking at those concerns for the winds. Now let's talk about what we have right now. 65 mile per hour tropical storm. Just from a purely visual presentation look, you see a big flare up of thunderstorm activity or convection here. And you can see how they've sort of bubbled up in the atmosphere and are making more of a circular sort of look to the cloud shield in that area. We still need to see all of this sort of whole area, sort of thunderstorms wrap around, because it's mainly been on the eastern side and on the northern side. But we're starting to see that come into play. And the visible satellite actually really lets us see more details on that. You can see at the lowest levels how you've got, that inflow coming in right in here. And then on that northern side and on that eastern side is where we do have a lot of the thunderstorm activity and where we have some of the best outflow right now that's allowing the thunderstorms to grow. And when you have taller thunderstorms, when you have stronger thunderstorms and you have more of them, that's what feeds the system, right? That's the energy basically that a hurricane needs to grow. We've got winds right now with the buoy nearby, 42056 at calm, so it must be moving right over it, I'm imagining. But we take a look at the Hurricane Hunters, which is really, they've been providing here real-time information about what the winds are as they've been flying through it, still fighting tropical storm force winds where they are right now. So what we know along the northern Gulf Coast, Sunday, we need to expect a major hurricane to make landfall, damaging winds, life-threatening storm surge, and also the heavy rainfall will be a factor as well. Let's talk intensity. And Molly, again, that wind at forecast landfall, 120 miles per hour now.
And with the Hurricane Hunters continuing to fly through this, that data will get fed into our models, and that will also help nail down that intensity. But right now we're looking at a part of the Gulf where historically we have seen hurricanes intensify very rapidly. Laura, just last year, was one of those. So each one of these lines, it represents a different model, different scenario of the intensity of Ida. So this does take it up to a Category 3 for some of these, and that's certainly what we're expecting. Some of the steering currents at this point important. We have this big area of high pressure that's allowing this to get steered directly into the Gulf. We also have an area of low low pressure that's going to squeeze this right into the Louisiana coastline, and potentially we could see this intensify continually up until landfall. One of those reasons being is that it's just favorable conditions in the Gulf. Not only are we not going to have to fight any shear, very little shear at that, but also some very light winds, favorable outflow to allow this system to breathe. So it's taking in some of that warm, moist tropical water, and then it's letting out some of the outflow of some of that colder air on top. And when you see that process taking place, you have a hurricane that will be able to not only sustain itself, but intensify as it's going to move over some very, very warm water, and even some of the warmest water right on the coastline of Louisiana. So we're looking at a scenario where you could potentially see this intensify all the way up until landfall. That would make peak intensity right at landfall. So you'll notice it is fighting a little bit of shear right now. So when you look at this presentation on satellite, you'll notice that a lot of the convection is on the eastern side of this. That shear kind of just disappears once we get into the Gulf, and it's going to have to fight very little shear. And I think it's incredible, just the model consensus, where almost every single model is in agreement. It's not too often that you see that moving directly into Louisiana. So it's not just the warm surface temperatures of the water. We also have some very deep warm water at this point. So when you have these tropical systems that churn through this water, sometimes if you have colder water that is deeper, that can be brought up to the surface and it can kind of disrupt the hurricane's process. But at this point, you see those dark reds and those oranges. That is some very deep warm water. And Jen, unfortunately, that's only going to allow for some intensification.
Well, exactly. And that's what we're concerned about, actually, as we see that approach to land. Let's talk about the risk of water. Tropical Storm Ida bringing the danger of life-threatening surge in places like New Orleans. And, you know, we're watching the Gulf Coast, even over to Panama City Beach. We'll see some impacts here. Rip currents are going to be a risk. Surge can cause major beach erosion and produce strong rip currents. And we all need to be prepared for the possibility of major flooding in this area. We'll show you where the storm surge watches are, and they go actually from here from almost to Port Arthur, so Sabine Pass, all the way over to the border with Alabama and Florida. So we're looking at a large area of coastline, all of Louisiana, coastal Louisiana, all of coastal Mississippi, and this zone in red, this is where we could get 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. That is a life-threatening storm surge. You need to stay away from the water, run from the water, hide from the wind has been the old adage here. And so, you know, if there are any evacuations, and right now there is a voluntary evacuation in Grand Isle, pay attention to local officials for that. Emergency managers decide when it makes sense to evacuate. But if you're under evacuations, you need to heed them. If you're not, you need to make sure you have your supplies and you're in a safe and sturdy structure. So let's talk about the high tides, because that makes a difference here. You never want a hurricane to make landfall at high tide, right? Because that just makes it worse. The water level's already higher. High tide in New Orleans on Sunday come at 1 o'clock into the afternoon. And so, you know, unfortunately, timing-wise, it may not work out. It depends on the exact path and point of landfall. The further west it goes, it'll take a little bit longer to reach the coast. We look at Grand Isle, your high tide is actually not till overnight Sunday into Monday morning, 3:55 Monday, 3:35 Monday morning for Grand Isle. So again, we'll be watching that closely for you. Bay St. Louis, our high tide, we look at Sunday into Monday, actually comes overnight into early Monday morning, 4:52 a.m. We're at low tide on Sunday at 4:06 p.m. So if that is indeed the timing of approach of the system here, at least we'll be at low tide. It'll be somewhat helpful, but look, not going to mitigate all the problems that we'll see from surge. There's going to be a buildup of water. A stronger system would build up more water. So the stronger hurricane that we have over the Gulf will help build up more water that will increase the surge. And waves on top of that. So we're looking at some of the biggest waves near where we'll see the landfall and just to the east of it. But look, the whole ocean is going to be churned up here. So even all the way along coastal areas of Alabama, Orange Beach, we were just talking about you here on the show. You're going to see waves on the increase getting into Saturday and especially Sunday. And you'll feel some of those increased waves too along coastal areas of the Florida Panhandle, perhaps all the way to Panama City Beach. Things will start to improve as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. It takes time for the ocean to calm down. You can see the waves are still up here on Monday. Now, storm surge is often the greatest threat to life and property from a hurricane. Hurricane specialist Dr. Greg Postel shows us why.
Storm surge is a devastating killer that can destroy coastal homes, travel miles inland, and find its way to your house with terrifying consequences. This is why you evacuate. Water invades your home, and within minutes you're trapped. A few inches can knock out the power. pressure floats as the water rises. And by 3 feet, you better get your family to that second floor or even the attic and make sure you have a way to get out in case you're trapped there. You also don't know when the water's going to stop rising. By 6 feet, this is truly life-threatening. This water's above my head and destroying all of these belongings. There are sharp objects, broken glass, and hazardous chemicals all around. And a storm surge of 9 feet. Well, that is at the ceilings of most homes. Don't get caught in this horrible and deadly nightmare. I urge you to listen to local officials and evacuate when you're ordered to do so.
Hurricane and storm surge watches are up right now for portions of southeast Louisiana, and places like Plaquemines Parish are preparing for Tropical Storm Ida, which will strengthen, and we think it's going to be a major hurricane before landfall. So joining me now to talk about these preparations is the president of Plaquemines Parish, Kirk Lepine. Kirk, thank you for joining us. What is being done right now to prepare for Ida?
Well, presently we're in a meeting. Actually, I just left it, but we are preparing to issue a mandatory evacuation at 3 o'clock today, which is called Alliance to Venice, which is the tip of our parish. If you're familiar with Plaquemines Parish, it's 65 miles long, and it's on the east bank and the west bank of the Mississippi River. And on the east bank, we'll be calling a mandatory evacuation on that side also at 3 o'clock today.
Okay, all right, so that's breaking news right there here, and we'll help you get that message out. So given that, what are your biggest challenges, and especially given the short time that we have to get people out of harm's way?
Our biggest challenges on the west bank of our parish is what we call the Myrtle Grove area. The levees there are the back levees, as we could say. There's river levees and back levees. The back levees are probably about 4 to 5 foot. And you talk about a 7 to 11 foot storm surge, that will breach it. And that's Highway 23. Highway 23 is our commerce highway that runs north to south, and it's our only highway on the west bank. On the east bank of our parish, it's Highway 39, and that's our only ingress and egress on that side. And we don't have any back levees, what we call from Phoenix to White Ditch. So getting that storm surge in or that water pushed in and not being able to get that water off to get our residents up and down is very concerning.
Very, very concerning. So let's talk about your community, and if anyone stays, will there be shelters?
Well, we're figuring that out now. We do have a contract with Monroe to move our residents up to Monroe, Louisiana. We have housed some people on our multi-purpose center on the government complex, but I think we're watching this very closely, and we're seeing it, the intensification coming very quickly, and so we want to be prepared and get everyone out of harm's way.
Yeah, I mean, and you all are no stranger to hurricanes. You know the threats. Certainly how to prepare for them. But we do have a short time frame, and so what is your message to people in your parish right now, since there's really not much time left to prepare?
To be prepared, I think the people here are resilient. They know the drill. They know to move when we tell them to, and they've been very astute to that. So we've asked them to seek higher ground. COVID has made very challenging times for all of us. So we ask that they find a safe place, and that we'll get through this together.
The president of Plaquemines Parish, Kirk Lepine, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us this morning here, and certainly thinking of you here as you continue going through your evacuations and getting set for the storm. We're going to watch, Molly, as we look at this forecast, the threat for surge flooding. That's one form of water issues, but also the threat for rainfall and flooding. That's
certainly going to be a big concern, not only as Ida arrives, but before Ida's arrival, there are thunderstorms and some very heavy rain moving through Louisiana this morning, and that will continue throughout the day. Just waves of heavy rain getting pushed on shore. Again, not related to Ida. Ida will not arrive until Sunday. We could see some flash flooding, though, kind of just laying the groundwork for a very soggy, saturated ground. You put more water on top of that when Ida moves in, and certainly you're going to have problems. So we do have some heavy rain just slowly moving its way inland. A lot of it's in the Gulf right now, but this will just continue across southeastern Louisiana as we go throughout the day. You can see see some very heavy rain at times where those dark oranges and those reds are. That's some truly tropical downpours, some thunder and some lightning. So not only is this going to up the threat for some flash flooding, but it's also going to slow down some preparations, especially people trying to go out and get those supplies at the store. You're going to be fighting some waves of thunderstorms. Maybe you're trying to board up your house, get your house ready outside as Ida approaches, and you're going to have to do it in between some of these rain bands moving through. Tomorrow through Sunday morning, we're going to watch more rain move through, potentially throughout the day on Saturday as well. And then we have to think about Ida's arrival, where you see in yellow, that's where we are very likely to see some flash flooding. That's from tropical downpours. And Ida has the potential to drop a lot of rain. We're talking about anywhere from potentially 12 to 18 inches of rain. And so far, the American model and the European model in fairly good agreement. The American model is a little bit farther to the east, but both showing the potential for some extremely heavy rain. And that would, of course, be combined with the storm surge that we're expecting and, Jen, make a really big mess in Louisiana.
Yeah. Now, certain communities have more dangers to deal with when a tropical system comes calling just because of where they are. For families in southwest Louisiana, being in the crosshairs of a historic hurricane season means homes might not be ready to deal with another blow. How the recovery effort has slowed preparations for what is to come. Stay with us here on the Weather Channel as we track Ida.
My dad and I used to call this place the Devil's Drop.
The legend returns. The all-new, ruggedly redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
People were afraid I was contagious. I felt gross.
It was kind of a shock after I started Cosentyx.
4 years clear.
Real people with psoriasis look and feel better with Cosentyx. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections, some serious, and the lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor about an infection or symptoms, or if you've had a vaccine or plan to. Tell your doctor if your Crohn's disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com.
There's never been a hotter time to sell your home. But when it comes time to get the best value, where do you start? That's where HomeLight comes in. HomeLight is the essential real estate platform used by countless sellers every year. HomeLight is here to help you at every step of your real estate journey, learning how to sell your home, finding a top listing agent, and ensuring a simple and certain closing. And best of all, HomeLight is completely free to use. Learn more today at HomeLight.com.
Tired of daily insulin injections? Omnipod delivers insulin through a discreet waterproof pod to help simplify life. Just one small pod replaces up to 14 injections. It's game-changing, and the wireless controller helps deliver the right amount of insulin. Get started with a free 30-day Omnipod Dash trial today. Go to Omnipod.com for risk information, instructions for use, and free trial terms and conditions. Consult your healthcare provider before starting on Omnipod. Simplify diabetes. Simplify life. Omnipod.
I'm not ready to lose my hair. Not now. But I never thought there was a real solution. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And I can get my treatment without leaving the couch. Go to Keeps.com to learn more.
Stunning! You did this? You could totally be a designer.
Rugs USA is my secret weapon. They make it easy to find a rug that pulls a room together.
Wait, are these prices for real?
Yes. Go to rugsusa.com/TV for an extra 10% off now. Always free shipping.
We've got you taken care of, Sergeant Houston.
Thank you. That was fast.
One call to USAA got her a tow, her claim paid, and even her grandpa's dog tags back. Get a quote.
I love my babysitter. She laughs when I burp. We got her from Care.com.
Go to Care.com for great babysitters and nannies with profiles, reviews, and more. It costs less than you think, and we even make it easy to pay. Care.com.
Here's my new dress. What's that? Oh, Damprid.
Damprid? Yeah, Damprid. Gets rid of musty odors.
How? Damprid attracts and traps excess moisture,
eliminating the source of musty odors.
Mustiness, gone.
Damprid. It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel. And America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Ashley Home Store's Labor Day sale is going on now. Get up to 30% off. Plus, get an additional 10% off outdoor furniture. Or get 6 years no interest. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Feels good to be home.
Ashley Home Store's Labor Day mattress sale is going on now. Save up to $1,000 on select Ashley Sleep, Groove, Sealy, and Beauty Rest mattresses. Or get the Doorbuster Sealy Hybrid for $6.99. Ashley Home Store, this is home.
Feels good to be home.
Over 150,000 people with non-valvular AFib have left blood thinners behind with Watchman, a safe one-time procedure that reduces stroke risk and bleeding worry for life. Watchman, it's one time for a lifetime.
From the marker for everything comes the pen for everything else. Introducing the smooth, bold, and vibrant Sharpie S-Gel. Sharpie S-Gel, the power of Sharpie, now in a gel pen.
A heat advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 89 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 91, chance of rain 80%. Tonight, rain and thunder. Low 72. Chance of rain 90%. Saturday, cloudy with occasional rain showers. High 75. Chance of rain 90%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
When it comes to covering the most important issue facing us and our Earth, one day does make all the difference. Now, the Weather Channel and its innovative climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. For what's now and what's next, rely on the climate experts with the most trusted name in TV news. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
We have what is right now Tropical Storm Ida expected to become a hurricane and a major hurricane as it approaches the Gulf Coast this Sunday. You're looking live at Lafayette, Louisiana, right here in the middle of the cone. Today is a good day to get those preparations done in advance of this landfalling hurricane this weekend. It's expected to be a major hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour.
I know during COVID, the Corps of Engineers has not inspected those levees like they did when I was parish president. Keeping rock on top of the levee, and then if you got overtopping, if you keep that grass cut, it becomes a mat. So even though the levee might be over top, you don't get levee failure. The height of the grass on some of these levees where it's not being maintained, if we get overtopping, those levees will not last. And that's a real concern.
Well, during a hurricane, winds have the potential to pull off roof shingles, tiles, or even the underlying roof deck. That's why you should always check the condition of your roof before a storm moves in.
In this Hurricane IQ, we show you why roof tape can help save your home.
Strong winds can deliver destruction and can tear the shingles off your roof like a zipper, leaving the wood exposed to the elements.
This is what's underneath those shingles that are on top of your house. And notice there's a gap between those two pieces of plywood.
So if this is all you had for your roof, obviously that leaves you very vulnerable to water and other things getting through those gaps.
So we have taped over the hole that makes it look like a colander. We still allow the wood to move back and forth.
Because those gaps need to be there, right?
The gaps have to be there so that the wood can contract and expand.
If the wind has done the damage to the underlayment and now we've got the plywood exposed, what happens like in the first inch of rainfall? How much water is going to get into my house, especially over here without the tape?
About 1 inch of rainfall on a typical 2,000 square foot roof. You've got 9 bathtubs worth of water coming into your house. If you are already roofing, the add to put in the tape is about $500 per typical
So if I'm re-roofing, it only costs $500 more to get this tape put on, and it can save that enormous cost of water getting into my home.
Yes, about $500 for a typical house, and not only the cost, but also the displacement of your family. If that came into your house, you're going to be out of your house for months waiting for that to get fixed.
Wow.
Yeah, you certainly do. Yeah. Well, a live look at Lake Charles now as residents race to prepare ahead of Ida's landfall. Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Delta will still be on the minds of many residents after the storms moved through the region last year, adding insult to injury. Multiple rounds of thunderstorms may rock the area before Ida makes landfall on Sunday.
Okay, so let's look at timing for Lake Charles, because I know that's on the question of a lot of minds here. First of all, we do have the tropical storm watches. That's in yellow. The hurricane watch is in orange up across this area. And even inland impacts, too. It's not just a coastal thing. You think of it as a coastal impact, but even those winds will carry inland, too.
And the water, too. So we're talking about a tremendous amount of rainfall from Ida moving in. And on top of that, we're going to see the winds and then the storm surge immediately by the coast. That's going to add up to be a whole host of problems. Now, for Lake Charles, it's going to be a very steep gradient drop off of what we're going to see as far as who gets the highest rainfall totals. And just on the western side of that, it probably won't amount to a whole lot. But as we continue to track Ida across the Gulf, we could see a little bit of a wobble to the east or to the west on exactly where this makes landfall.
Yeah, and that will make a difference into exactly where we see some of the biggest rain. Along the path and to the east will be some of the bigger totals that come in. Now, this rain that you see here on Saturday, this is still well in advance of when we get the impacts from the hurricane. That comes in on Sunday. And by the time we get to Sunday, that's when we're going to really start to see conditions going downhill here across southeast Louisiana, especially. This is where we have more than maybe 6 to 10 inches of rainfall. That's a possibility for us right here.
And I think it's impressive just how far inland that really heavy rain goes. The tide is going to make a huge difference, especially for areas like New Orleans. If we're at high tide or low tide, exactly when this starts to make landfall, high tide obviously would be worse. But right now it looks like some of these areas might get lucky where we're looking at an afternoon, maybe evening landfall, and that would be low tide, and that would maybe
for Bay St. Louis it would be in Mississippi. That could be helpful.
A little bit of a break. I mean, we're talking about a lot of big factors here, and that would just be one potentially that could help us out. And that rain extends all the way into Mississippi. I mean, Mississippi could see anywhere upwards of 6 inches of rain, and even coastal Alabama could see very heavy rain. And as we push this even into the Florida Panhandle, still seeing rain well outside that forecast cone that we've been watching.
Yeah, and I think beach concerns here too. So don't plan on any beach time on Sunday. It's the rip current risk will be up. The red flags will likely be flying, maybe even the double reds. Okay, well, let's take you out live to some other thunderstorms that we are looking at here. We've got a new flash flood watch that is out for the Philadelphia and Baltimore area, D.C. After heavy rain yesterday, we've got more again today. We'll be right back.
Is mealtime a struggle? Introducing Ore-Ida Potato Pay, where Ore-Ida Golden Crinkles are your crispy currency to pay for bites of this with this. When kids won't eat dinner, potato pay them too. Ore-Ida, win at mealtime.
The Bissell Crosswave Cordless Max lets you vacuum and wash your floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes. It even freshens area rugs.
And when you buy Bissell, you help save homeless pets.
To learn more, go to BissellCrosswave.com.
Attention. Medicare recipients are entitled to save money and get significant new benefits at no additional cost.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here, and if you're on Medicare, this is important. You're now entitled to eliminate co-pays and get dental care, dentures, eyeglasses, prescription coverage, in-home aids, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals, all at no additional cost. Plus, your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. Look, with the uncertainty of the virus and vaccines, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Here's the bottom line. Call to get significant benefits at no additional cost and see if your zip code has coverage with the Give Back benefit.
I called to get the new benefits and save money, so I'm not spending money I don't have to spend.
With this virus situation, I called to get everything I'm entitled to. I couldn't believe I was missing out on so many benefits.
Reality is, it's a very uncertain year ahead, so you need to be sure your health care coverage is up to date. Call now. It's free.
I called to get dental, transportation, meals, and the Give Back benefit. They helped me so much.
Get dental care, dentures, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals at no additional cost. And your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month.
With the uncertainty of the virus and vaccines, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare coverage helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-442-6400. That's 1-800-442-6400 now.
K-12 knows this year's been a challenge. Our tuition-free and personalized approach to online learning made it easier. Certified teachers who don't just teach, they inspire. And an engaging, interactive curriculum that meets the needs of diverse learners allows students to learn from the safety of home on your terms, preparing them for new challenges and a future they can be proud of. K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
In here, it's savings on a wide range of top-rated appliances. Out there, it's fresh towels and fresher flavors. Come in and save, or choose free delivery and flexible installation and let the savings come to you. Save big on this LG wash tower at the Home Depot.
This Labor Day, celebrate hardworking heroes everywhere.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I love my job.
With a marathon of your favorite shows.
This business is blood, sweat, and tears.
Hot diggity!
Don't you want this job? Don't miss Working Hard Week, starting Labor Day, only on the Weather Channel.
Named the world's most accurate forecaster, the Weather Channel.
Right now, it's easier to make a sandbag than a sandwich in New Orleans this morning because bread, water, all of the basics have just vanished from the shelves of grocery stores overnight as people stock up ahead of Ida's arrival.
Shoppers who did manage to find what they were looking for had to stand in long checkout lines as people raced to gather much-needed supplies. Now is the time to get ready for Ida, as its threats will run from the coast to communities even far away from the shore.
And we're talking about heavy rain, wind being some of the biggest problems for people trying to make those weekend plans. That extends well outside the forecast cone.
All right, so let's take you live to Baton Rouge this morning. Storms will be out there today and actually last into tonight. This is unrelated to our tropical system, but look, this is a problem. We've had just been inundated with some heavy rainfall, and we are going to see, unfortunately, more. We're 21.3 inches above average for the year. And now we're tracking Ida coming in this area.
And Jen, it could be some of those areas like Baton Rouge that could see some showers today while you're trying to prep for Ida's arrival. So here's the latest from the National Hurricane Center, bringing this up to wind speeds of 120 miles per hour prior to making landfall along the Louisiana coastline. That is a strong Category 3. And look at that arrival time. That's the later half of Sunday. So you really just have today and tomorrow to prepare, and that's it. So really, the time is now. Hurricane watches out, as well as tropical storm watches from coastal Alabama all the way over into areas like Lake Charles. Hurricane watch for Grand Isle extending up into New Orleans and even over into Baton Rouge. Here is where Ida is right now. 65 mile per hour sustained winds. You're starting to see more of that symmetrical appearance. It's really had a few strong thunderstorms in the last couple satellite loops, and that is a sign that this is trying to gain a little bit of strength. The hurricane hunters, the Air Force hurricane hunters, they are in Ida right now. They just made their most recent pass, and they're still finding those tropical storm force winds, but they are finding that some of the pressure is dropping in some of their drop zones, the equipment that they drop into the hurricane. And when you tropical storm really at this point, or any kind of tropical system, but when you start to see the pressure drop, usually that's related, Jen, to the winds starting to increase.
Exactly. So we do think we're going to have a strengthening system here. We know it will be strengthening into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's vital to understand your home's vulnerability to tropical weather. Having a family plan before it approaches is very important. Meteorologist Mark Elliott has a checklist of things to do before the storm.
Tropical storms can create conditions that threaten your safety. If your area may be affected by a tropical storm, it's time to take action. Stay informed. Media outlets provide valuable information about what types of emergencies can occur and the best way for you to respond. Follow the instructions issued by your local authorities. If ordered to evacuate, leave when told to do so. During the peak of the storm, it's critical that you stay away from doors and windows. Broken glass and flying debris can cause serious injury or death. Flooding can be the greatest threat from tropical storms, so follow the rainfall forecast and never drive into flooded streets. Staying informed and having a plan will help keep you and your family safe.
Just avoiding travel at all during this big rain that we're expecting from Ida here is really the best thing you can do. We know the rate of accidents goes up, and there's rain like this that's coming down. So we are looking at big time rain, 3 to 5 inches widespread. That's in yellow. We get into the 5 to 8 or even 8+ inches of rainfall. That's in the red. You can see that down here in southern Louisiana. So you watch those bands. When we see the hurricane get into the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to show you, sort of where the biggest rain producing bands are going to be and where they start training. That's where you get into some of those biggest numbers. We're also looking for a pretty wide footprint too. This is the GFS model. It's a little different than the European model just because it has the point of landfall different, a little further to the east. But still, you see well inland, well up into Alabama, into Mississippi. We've got a lot of rain coming in, at least 3 to 5 inches, and that will cause a lot of travel concerns here. So avoiding travel during these times is one of the best things that you can do. It's also all about planning too. And the planning has been going on for years, if not decades, in Louisiana when it comes to New Orleans and dealing with the fact that we are below sea level. Here, they got the Mississippi River off to our south. We've got Lake Pontchartrain. And then, between that, all the canals and everything else that run through the city, there are pumps that can pump out 1 inch in the first hour during that first hour of rainfall, and then 1/2 inch per hour after that, up to 5 inches. But we do know that chance is there to get more than that amount of rainfall. Look at the forecast for New Orleans. We've got 5 to 6 inches of rain coming our way because of Ida. And so the surge, there's a lot of water concerns that we have here into Louisiana. Stay with us right here on the Weather Channel. We'll bring you the latest details as we get them. You can download our app on your TV. Cable and satellite subscribers can get the Weather Channel on Roku, Fire Stick, and on your smart TV.
Now with Kellogg's Feeding Reading Program, when you buy a box, you can get a free book, turning boxes into books. Over 1 million and counting. Just buy a box and you can get a book and turn your favorite foods into new favorite stories.
If Physicians Mutual were a friend of yours, we'd be like Eddie here, loyal, dependable, and always there for you. We'd be the one you'd talk to about retirement, the complexities of Medicare, and the coverage you'd need. We'd listen and give you straightforward answers. Think of us as your devoted retirement friend. At Physicians Mutual, we'll help you find the coverage you need so you can have the retirement you deserve. Oh, good boy.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
USAA is made for the safe pilots, like Matt, who can come to a stop with barely a bobble. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Get a quote today.
We're Carvana, the company who invented car vending machines and buying a car 100% online. Now we've created a brand new way for you to sell your car. Whether it's a year old or a few years old, we want to buy your car. So go to Carvana and enter your license plate, answer a few questions, and our techno wizardry calculates your car's value and gives you a real offer in seconds. When you're ready, we'll come to you, pay you on the spot, and pick up your car. That's it. So ditch the old way of selling your car and say hello to the new way at Carvana.
Return to rugged, the all-new ruggedly redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
The Bissell Crosswave Cordless Max lets you vacuum and wash your floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes. It even freshens area rugs.
And when you buy Bissell, you help save homeless pets.
To learn more, go to BissellCrosswave.com.
At times like these, it's important to know that you're staying safe at home. Visiting Angels is committed to your safety and comfort. Our compassionate caregivers provide one-on-one essential home care services for our senior loved ones. At Visiting Angels, personal home care is our passion. We're here for you.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
From roof to foundation, the damage to your home can be devastating, from clogged gutters, leaking roofs, rotting wood and fascia, and flooded basements. Protect your entire home with Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
One of the things that I like the most is that I don't have to get back on the ladder anymore.
Leaf Filter starts by cleaning, sealing, and realigning your gutters. We then install our stainless steel micro mesh screen over your existing gutters, which keeps out all leaves and organic debris.
Trying other products is what made us finally go to Leaf Filter.
And Leaf Filter's lifetime transferable warranty makes it an extraordinary value.
Leaf Filter is going to make my home more valuable, especially when I go to sell it.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
At this hour, Tropical Storm Ida is moving away from the Cayman Islands and setting its sights to Cuba. But it's the storm's path after that has much of the Gulf Coast on alert this morning.
Ida is expected to start building steam once it gets over the open waters of the Gulf. The warm water there will act like gasoline for this system, and it could make landfall along the Gulf as a major hurricane. Louisiana's governor and FEMA are pleading with citizens along the coast to prepare for the possibility of a hurricane, and this comes on the anniversary of last year's Hurricane Laura.
Residents in the Lake Charles area are devastated and still trying to recover. Meteorologist Tevin Wooten talked to some of the people as they continue to try to get their lives together in the middle of preparing for another tropical system.
They can no longer afford to live here, and they said that they will never go back. They've been beaten, battered by every single storm. It's been a nightmare. It's an actual luxury to have a roof over our house while everybody else is still, living with much worse than what we have. For a whole week we have freezing weather, and houses here aren't built for freeze. They're not. A lot of people are looking at moving out of state because they can't afford the insurance premiums. They can't afford to fix their own house.
Comms tower that's just completely folded around.
There's nothing you can do to stop that. There's no preparation for that. It's been a struggle from the start.
These two buildings are trashed.
Hurricane Laura will go down in history as the most powerful storm to ever make landfall in southwest Louisiana.
We had 6 heaters, at least in the house everywhere, just trying to keep the house warm because we have no insulation in half the house because where the trees fell through. I think it was $76,000 to fix our house. And now we're looking at close to $135,000 once it's all said and done to fix the house because the price of lumber just keeps going up and up. Nobody wants to rebuild. Nobody can afford the insurance for their businesses to rebuild here.
There is power loss everywhere here.
It was hard. I don't know how we got through that. There's rat holes now in the house that weren't there before the storm and everything, and it's been a nightmare. You pay so much money for homeowners insurance, and it doesn't even come through when you need it. It feels like a dream. It doesn't feel real.
I know, and it's hard to think that, after last year, we're, right in the crosshairs again this year in Louisiana. So take a look back. This was last year, 4 landfalls. Laura, obviously Delta. Then after that, we had Cristobal and Zeta, which came through affecting the New Orleans area. And then, of course, for us in Lake Charles, we had Laura, we had Delta. Then we had a winter storm here and sub-freezing temperatures. And then we had big flooding that came in May of this year. So we've had multiple disasters affecting us. But let's just go back to Laura, because I want to talk about some lessons learned here just in terms of surge and what we saw. We did see some water in downtown Lake Charles from Lake Charles itself. We had just over 4.5 feet of storm surge there. But along the coast is where we saw some of that biggest surge. Calcasieu Pass, more than 9 feet. That is a life-threatening surge. More than 13 feet in Grand Chenier. That was last year because of Laura. Let's look at this year, what we're expecting because of Ida. Remember, Laura had winds of 149 miles per hour when it came and made landfall. So we're watching the storm surge area. The watch is in purple here all across coastal Louisiana. The surge expected highest along and just to the east of the center of circulation. 7 to 11 feet is what we're expecting. It's not just Louisiana that actually extends into Mississippi as well. So there will be surge impacts here, 7 to 11 feet. We've been telling you today about some voluntary evacuations in Grand Isle. We just learned on our air here about a half hour ago that there are now some mandatory evacuations in parts of Plaquemines Parish. So pay attention to your local officials, your emergency managers. They will be the ones that put the alert out for what you are supposed to do. Now, to give you more background on what goes into making these surge forecasts, you look at the time of high tide, because when you have the peak surge coming in at the time of high tide, it just makes it that much worse. Sunday for us here at Grand Isle, the low tide is at 2:52 in the afternoon, which may be somewhat helpful to us here, but unless, of course, the system slows down and makes a later landfall into the overnight, because that's when we get to our next high tide. Molly.
Winds and rain shake the trees in White Bear Lake as storms move through the Great Lakes on Thursday. And if you're in this area, you're going to have to keep that rain gear handy, because we're tracking another round of storms right now, making its way across much of the northern tier. There's actually two separate areas that we're watching as we go throughout the day today for the potential of severe weather. The first being Iowa all the way into Wisconsin, ongoing storms right now. The second one is actually Montana over into the Dakotas. That's where we could see some isolated, discrete supercells start to fire up later in the evening through the overnight hours, and that would certainly be something to watch. We're seeing some heavier rain in southern portions of Minnesota, northern Iowa, Mason City, repeatedly seeing some very heavy rain, as well as the stronger line of storms. This was severe earlier. Now it is not, but it is still a dangerous line passing through, and this is going to move over the I-41 corridor between Oshkosh all the way down to Milwaukee. So if you have to drive on that interstate, maybe just wait until this passes, because this is going to be a messy storm, some very heavy rain, low visibility on the highways, probably some ponding on the highways too, with all of the water coming down. We're going to see several rounds of rain moving through the Wisconsin area as we go throughout the day today. But then as we go into tomorrow, we're expecting more rain firing up, and this is an area that really doesn't need it. We definitely more of the rainfall back in the Dakotas, as well as portions of Minnesota.
Hey, Frank, our workers' comp insurance is expiring. Should we just renew it?
Yeah, sure. Hey there, small business owner. Pi Insurance here with some sweet advice to stop you from overpaying on workers' comp. Try Pi instead and save up to 30%. 30%? Really? Get a quote in 3 minutes at easyaspie.com.
Wow, that is easy.
So, need another reminder? No, I'm good.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah. Need workers' comp insurance? Get a quote in 3 minutes at easyaspie.com.
Lose something? Where's your face mask?
Probably in my car.
Somewhere in my kitchen.
He has no idea.
When you need your mask, you want it right where you can find it. Introducing CopperFit Never Lost Face Mask, the new ultra lightweight mask designed with a built-in lanyard that lets you lower your mask and is always right there when you need it.
Sometimes people just walk on you just really quick. You're like, where's my mask at? Yeah. And now it's like, oh, okay, you're coming. I'm ready to go.
I'm like in my purse throwing things around trying to find it. Like, wait, 1 second.
I like that it just hangs right off, and then I don't have to worry about losing it, so it's always with me.
Okay, I got my phone, I got my keys. Where's my mask? Oh, it's always with me.
An easy adjustable ear loop design for custom fit and maximum comfort.
I love the adjustable ear loops. It doesn't fall off. It's very secure. I don't feel the straps behind my ears. I've never seen a mask have that.
You're expecting a good mask to be uncomfortable. Constantly put my fingers back here and give my ears some relief. But with this mask, I can breathe in it and probably never gonna lose it. It's great.
A triple layer fabric with a durable copper infused outer layer and a soft cotton double inner layer.
This is brilliant. This is now my go-to mask because you don't need to be thinking about it. You just need to wear it.
It's going to blow it out of the water against all other masks.
An adjustable nose clip to help reduce fogging.
You gotta love that.
Never Lost mask is durable, washable, and reusable. Get the mask you will never lose again at buyneverlost.com for only $19.99. Or call 1-800-550-4602. Order now for your entire family, and we'll include 4 lanyard masks for only $19.99.
Why don't all masks have this?
If you want a mask that doesn't give you Mickey Mouse ears and pull your ears right off your face, you want this mask.
You want to simplify your life? Get one of these.
Ask for the original by name. CopperFit Never Lost Mask.
Hi. You're watching golf videos now.
Oh, in fact, I am. Yeah, because I switched to Spectrum Mobile, so I get 5G nationwide, including here.
You think a golf video is going to help with what you're doing?
Oh, no, it's not just a video. I saved a bunch of money when I switched, so I hired a swing coach. Say hi to Brett.
Hey. Well, you tell Brett you just shot a 12 on the last hole.
Who's counting?
Everybody. That's the whole point of golf. Counting.
Brett did tell me that.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile and save, and get 5G nationwide included in every plan. It's a better way to mobile. It's Spectrum Mobile.
TracFone Wireless gives you more control. Just swap your SIM card. You can also keep your phone, keep your network, keep your number. $20 a month, no contract. Don't keep that case, though. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
I can't let diabetes get in my way. I've got way too much stuff to do.
So here's what I do. I wear this Dexcom G6. It continuously sends my glucose numbers to my phone. And this arrow shows me where I'm headed and how fast. Check out Dexcom.com/inrange.
Innovative climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. Rely on the climate experts with the most trusted name in TV news. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
A heat advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 89 degrees under fair skies. Today, thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High 91. Chance of rain 80%. Tonight, rain and thunder. Low 72. Chance of rain 90%. Saturday, cloudy with occasional rain showers. High 75. Chance of rain 90%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Taking you out to a look from earlier this morning at Orange Beach, Alabama. You can see the waves rolling in here, and it's a little choppy for now. It's about to get worse, though. You know, we're outside the cone, but we are definitely going to feel the impacts from Ida as it approaches the Gulf Coast.
And it's really any area along the Gulf Coast from Louisiana all the way over to Alabama that you have to pay close attention to this forecast, because any wobble to the west or the east is going to make a huge difference in who sees the worst of Ida.
Those waves will get bigger there in Orange Beach. The rip current risk will go up here, and we'll see the rainfall. And we'll have some surge concerns, too. We want to show you that. Let's start with what we know right now. The latest 11 o'clock advisory came in with 65-mile-per-hour winds. Hurricane hunters have been flying through, so that's measured. And they found the center about 75 miles to the southeast, to the south of the Isle of Youth.
And I think the structure of this, just at least visually on satellite, in the last couple loops has become more impressive. And I think not only is that a sign of strengthening, but also a sign that maybe it's starting to fight off some of the shear that it's been dealing with, and that shear is weakening. So if it's able to do this in an environment where it still has some shear, just think what it's going to be able to do when it doesn't have to fight that anymore.
Right. Once you get into the Gulf of Mexico, there won't be that shear to deal with. There'll be very warm ocean water, not just on the surface, but deep, and that gives you that higher ocean heat content. And so that's why, with this latest advisory, you saw an increase of winds at landfall of 120 to 120 miles per hour. So we're expecting a major hurricane.
And that's very close to Category 4. So it still keeps it as a Category 3, but you're talking about a high-grade Category 3 as this approaches the Louisiana coast.
When you compare, if you compare 120 miles per hour to a Category 1, 75 mile per hour, that is 43 times stronger. So in terms of the impacts here, much more destructive than, you know, what you would expect from just a Cat 1. So you need to be ready for this.
Well, this morning we are answering your questions about Tropical Storm Ida. Jared asks, is there a chance that the Mississippi Gulf Coast could be affected in comparison to Katrina?
Okay, well, let's look at that here. He's asked, well, let's answer two parts of that question, right? We'll answer the first one, which is, will be affected. Yes. Comparing to Katrina, it's a different beast, but it's going to be a strong hurricane. So we are going to see that water rise because of it. We're going to see the winds. We've got tropical storm watches that are up and hurricane watches and coastal Mississippi.
Actually, the entire coast of Mississippi right now is under that hurricane watch, and it really just is going to depend on exactly where this comes in, where we see that water start to pile up along the coast. There is a storm surge watch. In effect, that also does include all of coastal Mississippi.
I mean, you might see the strongest winds, maybe 25, 30 miles away from the center here, the 120 mile per hour winds, right? But you will be in those hurricane force winds here. Sometimes they extend out, 30 miles, 40 miles from the center of circulation. It certainly can happen. And so that's what we need to be warning for. And then we look at the surge, anywhere from 7 to 11 or 4 to 7 feet there in coastal Mississippi. That could be life-threatening.
And on top of that, you have the rainfall. So the rainfall not only for coastal Mississippi, but making it far, far inland for areas even up into Jackson, which could see a range of upwards of 6 inches of rain.
Okay, Rachel asks, how will Mobile, Alabama be affected?
Well, similar, but a little bit farther to the east. Now we're talking about for coastal portions of Alabama. You are under a tropical storm watch. So that means that you could see those tropical storm force winds. You could see a little bit of surge coming in your direction as well, because you are under a storm surge watch. And again, that extends all the way from Louisiana to the coast of Alabama.
Mobile's on the right or the east side of the circulation. So we'll be getting that onshore flow. And so that means that the water is going to be flowing right into Mobile Bay. And so, getting into all the little nooks and crannies. And if you live there, you certainly know the impacts that you can get here just from persistent onshore flow. So you combine that plus the rainfall, definitely some flooding concerns in some areas there.
And rip currents as well. So send us your questions by using the hashtag Hurricane Questions, and we will answer them right here on air.
Well, severe weather also is in our forecast, too. And take a look at what hit the northern plains this week, slamming South Dakota particularly bad and whipping up a dust storm in the small town of Raymond, about 40 miles west of Watertown, where wind gusts of 75 miles per hour were reported, strong enough to down trees and cause power outages.
Repeated thunderstorms in that area of the country this week. It's just been round after round. Let's talk about some other areas in the tropics, because it's not just Ida. We also have Tropical Storm Nora, that's in the Pacific, but we also have Invest 97L and Invest 98L, areas of investigation. They look a little bit suspicious, and here's why. We've got an 80% chance of development, but Jen, here's the good news.
So all of our islands are looking at this and say, phew, it's moving up to the north. That's the area of concern. So it is a shipping interest, though, here, so heads up.
And as we move into the Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Nora. This is going to be pushing to the north and gaining a little bit of intensity as it does that.
Yes, and so we'll keep an eye on things up here, Cabo San Lucas, but this moisture from Nora actually may get up into the southwest U.S. So we'll watch for flooding concerns from that into next week. We'll be right back.
There's an America we build and one we explore. One that's been paved and one that's forever wild. But freedom means you don't have to choose just one adventure. You get both. Introducing the all-new 3-row Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Jeep, there's only one.
Visible is wireless that doesn't play games. No surprise fees, legit unlimited data for as little as $25 a month. And the best part, it's powered by Verizon. But it gets crazier. Bring a friend every month and get every month for $5. Which is why I brought them. 2 $5 months right here. Hey. Plus the players of my squad. Then finally, my whole live stream. Boom. 12 months of $5 wireless.
Visible. Unlimited data as low as $25 a month. Or bring a friend and you both get a month for $5. Wireless, it gets better with friends.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
It can be easy to steal your identity. Now, it can be just as easy to help protect yourself. LifeLock helps detect identity threats. If there's a problem, we work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com.
At Loan Depot, we know home means everything. We're at the ballpark, across the nation, and just down the street. Loan Depot, home purchase, home refinance, and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Hey, Frank, our workers' comp insurance is expiring. Should we just renew it?
Yeah, sure.
Hey Hey there, small business owner. Pi Insurance here with some sweet advice to stop you from overpaying on workers' comp. Try Pi instead and save up to 30%.
30%, really?
Get a quote in 3 minutes at easyaspie.com.
Wow, that is easy.
So, need another reminder?
No, I'm good.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah. Need workers' comp insurance? Get a quote in 3 minutes at easyaspie.com.
At Tommy John, we believe you deserve the most comfortable underwear. And breathable, supportive, lightweight stretch fabrics for the perfect fit on every guy. We believe in can't believe they never thought of that designs, like our Stay Put waistband and the horizontal quick draw fly. We believe the daily grind should only be in your coffee cup, not in your underwear. Plus, we guarantee no wedgies, no adjustment needed. Feeling is believing. So upgrade now and get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com with this code.
When my teeth started to deteriorate, I stopped hanging out socially. It was an easy decision. Clear choice.
The health of our teeth plays a significant role in our overall health. Chantal was suffering, and we had to put an end to that. The absolute best way to do that was through dental implants.
Clear Choice dental implants changed everything. My digestive health is much better now. I feel more energetic. The person that I've always been has shown up to the party again.
All eyes on Ida as alerts span the heart of the Gulf Coast. Communities along shore and inland will face threats from wind, rain, and flooding this weekend and into next week.
The dangers are both inside and outside the forecast track, from the beaches to the plains and even beyond the mid-Mississippi Valley. Need to prepare for the storm, and there's just not a lot of time left to do that.
Understand that the Hurricane Center and the meteorologists are very concerned about this storm because they see all the conditions necessary for it to strengthen very, very rapidly. And we don't have a 5, 6, 7 day advance notice where we would do all of our H-hour sequencing across the state of Louisiana, working with all of the local officials and so forth.
Well, thank you for trusting the Weather Channel with getting you through the host of alerts and concerns as Ida bears down on families along the Gulf Coast.
We are also tracking severe storms moving through other parts of the country, too. We'll provide you with the timing you need for that. But first, the big storm is Ida and the preparations being made before it arrives.
Long lines seen at both gas stations and grocery stores around the New Orleans metro as people prepare for Tropical Storm Ida, soon to be Hurricane Ida. Some stores are struggling to keep basic supplies stocked like water and bread. Ida is now forecast to be a major hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour when it approaches the Gulf Coast. More than 2 million people are under a hurricane watch that does include New Orleans. Jen, I think just the idea of the rapid intensification is really the scariest part about Ida.
Because when you see it right now, you think it's just a tropical storm. No, I mean, yes, it is a tropical storm, but we know what's to come for Ida. It's already been strengthening pretty quickly, actually, over just the last 12 hours. And given the environment it's in, which is not perfect, here we know that there's unfortunately a lot more to come. So we're expecting a Cat 3, 120 mile per hour upon landfall as it approaches the Louisiana coast. And this is throughout the afternoon on Sunday into Sunday evening. That is the timing right now based on all the information we have. Then continuing inland into Louisiana, Mississippi. We're going to see the rainfall there into Alabama as well. You know, let's talk about the coastal impacts, though. Hurricane watches are up. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Grand Isle, where there is a voluntary evacuation. Parts of Plaquemine Parish has a mandatory evacuation, and Gulfport, we have a hurricane watch there as well. Biloxi, you're in that too. So here's a look at the latest here. And if you're just tuning in this morning, it looks a lot different than yesterday, right? But if you've been watching us through the morning, even then it looks a lot different. You can see how we have this big flare up of activity here and sort of right over that center of circulation. Winds are at 65 miles per hour. That's from the hurricane hunters who've been flying through. They've been finding a dropping pressure. In fact, the last advisory at 11 o'clock had the pressure at 996, but the hurricane hunters just flew through and found the 991. So we'll see how that plays into the next advisory, right? Pressure that goes down means winds will be going up. Now, from this visible satellite perspective, you really can see how that central dense overcast here is overspreading, and we're getting more organization to the core of this system. This says it's just to the south and east of the Isle of Youth, right here in Cuba. And so we're going to see, as this moves to the northwest, we'll see it interact with lands. It's not a lot of land, and there's really not a lot of mountains, just about a small area of 2,000-foot terrain right there. So while it might sort of maintain intensity, we don't think that there'll be a lot of impact from Cuba to the structure of what is Ida. Hurricane hunters have been flying through, and we'll get more data from them as it goes, but we need to talk about intensity because that's really key as we watch this approach the Gulf Coast landfall sometime later on Sunday. Damaging winds and life-threatening storm surge are likely. And, you know, Molly, as we look at that new advisory that came in at 11, 120 mile per hour winds here. You know, this is something, a lot of people say, okay, Cat 1, I don't worry, but Cat 3, that's a different story.
And you're talking about a very strong category 3 hurricane winds of 120 miles per hour. Let's talk about the intensity because there's several factors at play here leading into the intensity. Each one of these lines represents a different model, a different scenario that could happen with the intensity. And a lot of these are taking this up to Cat 2, Cat 3. I think as we get new model runs, we will see that edging up a little bit higher. And I think that you also need to pay close attention to just how quickly that happens. We're talking about this making landfall on Sunday. It is Friday, so you have today and you have tomorrow, and it's going to rapidly intensify once it makes it into the Gulf. We have a big area of high pressure that's steering Ida right into the Gulf, and once it makes it into the Gulf, there's just not a lot of elements that are going to work against Ida. So we talk about shear a lot, we talk about dry air a lot, and neither of those are really going to be in place as this moves into the Gulf. So you've got light wind and favorable conditions for some outflow to allow this hurricane to continue to breathe as it moves into the Gulf. And when you get that breathing process, not only do you see a hurricane able to sustain itself, but you also can see that possibility for rapid intensification. Plenty of warm water in place, and it even gets warmer as it moves into the Gulf area, just right around the coast of Louisiana. So we're talking about, we could see peak intensity right as this is making landfall. We've seen that in the past, and this certainly is a situation where we could see this happening again. This is the shear, and so far today, at least the first part of today, Ida has been fighting off some shear. I think with just what you saw with Jen showing you what it looks like on satellite, that it's starting to fight off some of that shear is starting to drop off, and that's allowing for some strengthening right now. That shear is only going to continue to decrease as it moves into the Gulf, and I think it's incredible to note, just look at the consensus of the models. A lot of them are in agreement, and it's kind of odd to see them in agreement because usually you have one or two at least outliers. But this is zoning in on the coast of Louisiana. So it's not just the surface temperatures of the water, which are incredibly warm. You're talking about 85 to near 90 degrees, but it's also the deep ocean heat content. So you have water that's not only warm, but you have warm water that goes very deep. And that just allows, Jen, for Ida to be able to intensify very quickly.
Yes, indeed. And Ida is bringing the danger of life-threatening surge. We're looking at places like New Orleans. We're even showing you Panama City Beach because we'll see some coastal impacts here too. You know, surge can cause beach erosion. Surge can cause rip currents, and you guys need to be on the lookout for flooding as well, especially in New Orleans. So let's get you to it and show you where we do have those storm surge watches. That's up in purple, most of the coastline of Louisiana. In fact, all the coastline of Louisiana. Then we go into coastal Mississippi, all of it there as well. And we go into Alabama. I mean, look, you know, Mobile Bay is one area that we're looking at, and even over into the islands there, just along those barrier islands. So we have an estimated 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. That's in the forecast for places like Grand Isle, for Plaquemines Parish. In Plaquemines Parish, that's why they are doing the mandatory evacuations that they are doing there starting later today. We have 4 to 7 feet. You know, Biloxi Point eastward over into Alabama here. Look at that zone, 4 to 7 feet. That'll have some overwash affecting travel in the area. Roads will be closed because of it. So we look at the timing of it all here and expecting a landfall sometime Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. Right now, that's what we expect. And for New Orleans, high tide is early Sunday afternoon. You really don't want to see the two matching up, right? So that may be unfortunate. We'll see about the timing of that. Grand Isle, your high tide actually doesn't come later until overnight Sunday into Monday. It's at 3:35 a.m. Let's look at Bay St. Louis, where your high tide comes overnight as well, Sunday into early Monday. There's not a lot of sort of tidal changes across this area. So, it's not like on the East Coast when it really does make a big difference at the time of high tide or low tide. Either way, we've got a lot of push of water on that eastern side of the circulation of this hurricane. And it is expected to be a strong one. Winds at 120 miles per hour right now is the forecast as it approaches land. It'll jump up the waves as well. And we see those waves on the increase Saturday and Sunday here for us, especially in Louisiana and Mississippi. All right, it's important to understand how storm surge happens, and whether you're at the coast or live inland, it's not something to take lightly. Hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knabb explains why surge is a killer.
A hurricane's biggest killer, storm surge. It's the primary reason we evacuate. The severity of storm surge is determined by several factors, many of which set up well before landfall. As winds around a hurricane ramp up at the ocean surface, they kick off a circulation below. Over the deep ocean, water is able to circulate downward with no restrictions. But as the storm nears the coast, the ocean becomes increasingly shallow, and the water circulation gets disrupted by the sea floor. Because the water can no longer go down, it's pushed back up and over land, producing the storm surge. Lots of factors influence who gets the worst storm surge, not only including the storm track, but also its size and forward speed, strength of the winds, angle of approach, and coastal geography. When all of these factors come together, the consequences can be disastrous. Back in 2005, Hurricane Katrina brought a record-setting 28-foot storm surge to parts of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And storm surge doesn't just stop at the coast. It can flood areas tens of miles inland. So find out today if you live in an evacuation zone and leave when told to do so, because evacuating is the only way to stay safe from the rising storm surge.
The greater New Orleans area, including Jefferson Parish, are under a hurricane and storm surge watch right now. Jefferson Parish is preparing for Ida, which could be a major hurricane at landfall. Joining us live right now is Jefferson Parish President Cynthia Lee Shang. Cynthia, thank you for joining us. Last year, Louisiana.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hit hard by 4 landfalling systems last year. We had Cristobal and Zeta impacting the New Orleans area. So what is being done right now to prepare for Ida?
Well, in Jefferson Parish, we have a unique situation where we're in an area where a lot of us are protected by a levee system, but there are lower lying areas that are really vulnerable outside of our levee protection system, very vulnerable to storm surge. So our areas of Grand Isle and Lafitte, right at the Gulf of Mexico, are under, Grand Isle is under a mandatory evacuation. Today, people are preparing. Obviously, we're expecting high winds as well. So we're expecting electrical outages even in the area within the levee protection system. We're currently going through a 4th surge of COVID, so that is complicated, on top of everything else. Certainly all of our efforts, it is a difficult time for us to be dealing with this storm here in Louisiana.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. I do actually want to talk more about the evacuations because we know that's critical information to get out. So what do you have voluntary, what do you have mandatory for Jefferson Parish?
Right now, Grand Isle is under a mandatory evacuation. Lafitte, Lower Lafitte, Barataria, and Crown Point are under a voluntary. What we're trying to really tell everybody is to pay attention throughout the day. The information is going to change. So they have to, be aware. We're going to have press conferences later. We're having leadership calls for everybody to take the day-to-day to start making their preparations. We'll probably do a voluntary evacuation for our area up here in the greater New Orleans area. But it's a fast-moving. This came upon us very quickly. And, we're all spending the day really getting a lot of temporary pumps and moving assets to our most vulnerable areas.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the pandemic, and obviously you went through it last year with the pandemic and with a very active hurricane season. But, this year is sort of next level, right? So how is that adding to your concerns this hurricane season?
We have been for the last couple weeks have really been having a lot of hospital capacity issues, right? So our hospitals are filled. Obviously, the message to our citizens is, even after storms, even if you don't get a direct hit, people get out, they start jumping on ladders and having issues with trying to clear their yards so really oxygen issues, people need oxygen. So the real message here is if you don't need to go to a hospital, We don't want you to go to the hospital because the hospitals are dealing with COVID patients. So we really need to get that message out. We're going to help them as much as we can. We know people need oxygen after these events. We're going to set up some oxygen stations. So we're going to help our hospital systems try to do whatever we can to help relieve that pressure, because they really are, they're tired. We've had this fourth surge here for the last several weeks. It's been a long couple weeks for us. And so that's why it's horrible that this event is happening to us here in South Louisiana.
No, it really is. And you bring up a good point with the power. I mean, people more than ever, there are more people who need power, electricity, in order to get oxygen. So do you know if they're pre-positioning crews so that power can get restored as soon as possible?
Absolutely. We have Entergy here. They do pre-position crews to get power. And the message is it's hot in Louisiana in August. It's very hot. And if you're someone who just, you're vulnerable and you can't be without air condition, obviously the guidance is to leave early and get to where your life is going to be more comfortable for the next couple days. And so everybody really has to look at their own family plan, their own health. Obviously, and just with COVID, I mean, traveling in cars, we're gonna, if the weather allows, put the windows down, have your mask, keep your social distance as much as possible. Again, as we said, COVID is a whole layer on top of this that complicates this type of dealing with this weather event.
Yeah, it really has. President of Jefferson Parish, Cynthia Lee Shang, thank you so much for speaking with us today, and a great message that applies for your area. And really, I think a lot of folks can take that same message and use it when preparing for Ida. Now, we've talked about the surge and the wind this morning. I also want to talk about the flooding, Molly.
And I think the issue, Jen, is that we could see some flooding prior to when Ida even starts to move in. So we do have rain today, and heavy rain at that, thunderstorms passing through southern Louisiana. That could just lay the groundwork for a very saturated soil, and then Ida will come in behind that and just dump more rain on top of that. That will cause some big issues with flash flooding. So we do have the rain continuing to move in. Again, this is not related to Ida. This is just a small tropical wave passing through, but it is not only going to bring that threat for flash flooding. You can see that heavy rain moving in, wave after wave, as we go throughout the day to the New Orleans area. But also, it's going to slow the preps. You talking about people trying to go out to the store to get supplies, maybe trying to board at their houses, make sure their house is prepared. You're going to have to time it out between some of these waves of some very heavy rain. This will likely continue on and off throughout the day on Saturday. I don't think it'll be quite as heavy as what we're going to see today, but that flash flooding concern extends through Sunday morning. And then here comes Ida after that, bringing very likely flash flooding to areas like Grand Isle all the way up to Baton Rouge, where we could see anywhere from 12 to even 18 inches of rain at most.
Selling your home doesn't need to be stressful. With HomeLight Simple Sale, you can skip the paint job and fixing up the yard. You can also pass on all those neighbors stomping through your house at all those open houses and unannounced buyer showings. HomeLight provides an all-cash offer for your home so you can sell your home in days, not months. It's quick, it's stress-free, and most importantly, it's simple. Start for free today at homelight.com/simple.
Hey, you! Domino's is giving away $50 million in surprise frees.
A whole pizza?
Yes.
Other delivery apps add surprise fees.
It's not cheap.
At Domino's, we're giving out surprise frees instead.
Surprise freeze!
Surprise what?
Freeze with an R.
When you order delivery online, you could be surprised with free lava cakes, free stuffed cheesy bread, free pizza, or more.
Yes!
Check the Domino's tracker to find out.
Where are you going to have pizza next time?
Domino's!
That's what I love to hear.
New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/hire and get started today.
So many people are overweight now and asking themselves, why can't I lose weight? For most, the reason is insulin resistance, and they don't even know they have it. Conventional starvation diets don't address insulin resistance. That's why they don't work. Now there's Release from Golo. It naturally helps reverse insulin resistance, stops sugar cravings, and releases stubborn fat, all while controlling stress and emotional eating. At last, a diet pill that actually works. Go to Golo.com to get yours.
We're Thrive Cosmetics. We create high-performance, cruelty-free, 100% vegan formulas. And we love that you love our products, like our award-winning Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. Plus, with every product you purchase, we donate to help a woman thrive. Join our movement today at thrivecosmetics.com.
Do you take aspirin?
plain aspirin could be hurting your stomach. New Vazalore is the first liquid-filled aspirin capsule clinically shown to cause fewer ulcers than plain aspirin. Vazalore is designed to help protect, releasing aspirin after it leaves your stomach, where it is absorbed, to give you the benefits of life-saving aspirin to help prevent another heart attack or stroke. Heart protection with your stomach in mind. Try new liquid-filled Vazalore. Aspirin made amazing.
Did he cut the head off?
I didn't pay attention.
A Discovery Plus original.
I'm Sebastian Maniscalco, and I love comedy, and I love to eat. But I'm not some sophisticated foodie type.
There you go.
But I do have a lot of questions. Are you kidding me? This is how they do this?
He doesn't know. He's like a baby.
I'm learning already.
How you feeling?
If I were to quit, I would never hear the end of it from my father.
Well done with Sebastian Maniscalco. Stream for just $4.99 on Discovery Plus.
And I saw you feeling the meat.
I didn't think anybody saw that.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel. And America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Hi, TracFone Wireless gives you more control. Just swap your SIM card. You can also keep your phone, keep your network, keep your number. $20 a month, no contract. Don't keep that case, though. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
I can't let diabetes get in my way. I've got way too much stuff to do.
So here's what I do. I wear this Dexcom G6. It continuously sends my glucose numbers to my phone. And this arrow shows me where I'm headed and how fast. Check out Dexcom.com/inrange.
Over 150,000 people with non-valvular AFib have left blood thinners behind with Watchman, a safe one-time procedure that reduces stroke risk and bleeding worry for life. Watchman, it's one time for a lifetime.
From the marker for everything comes the pen for everything else. Introducing the smooth, bold, and vibrant Sharpie S-Gel. Sharpie S-Gel, the power of Sharpie, now in a gel pen.
A heat advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 91 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy with an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. High 91, chance of rain 50%. Tonight, rain and thunder. Low 73, chance of rain 80%. Saturday, overcast with rain showers at times. High 75, chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
This Labor Day, celebrate hardworking heroes everywhere.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I love my job.
With a week-long marathon of some of the most extreme, intense, and dangerous jobs out there.
If this breaks, I'm a dead man.
Featuring your favorite shows.
This business is blood, sweat, and tears.
Hot diggity!
Don't you want this job? Don't miss Workin' Hard Week, starting Labor Day, only on the Weather Channel.
And you're taking a look at the forecast for what is right now Tropical Storm Ida. Will be Hurricane Ida by tomorrow, and you can see that we've got a landfalling Category 3 hurricane right now with winds forecast to 120 miles per hour approaching Louisiana on Sunday.
We do have some thunderstorms moving through the area right now, and so that could allow just for some flash flooding concerns ahead of Ida, but nonetheless, it could slow preps as well with just that rain in place.
Indeed. All right, hurricane watch is up, tropical storm watch on either side of that.
We've got the coast, and we've always had those hurricanes. But as we saw in 2016, the rains that came for 30 hours in Louisiana flooded 57 of the 64 parishes. The water that fell was the equivalent to taking that Mississippi River and turning it into the middle of Louisiana for 18 days. Unprecedented. And so the challenges are not just the coast anymore. It's any community that rain decides it's going to drop on.
Hurricane Katrina in 2005 shined the light on how devastating a tropical system can be for New Orleans. The city has made drastic improvements to its levee system, though, since Katrina.
But the question is always, is it enough? Meteorologist Mark Elliott takes a look at the danger in the Big Easy.
New Orleans sits close to the hurricane-prone Gulf, surrounded by water and dissected by canals. And worse, much of the city sits below sea level. New Orleans is built in a bowl. Once water comes into the city, it has nowhere to go, trapping residents and making evacuation almost impossible. That can lead to a large loss of life. The Army Corps of Engineers has implemented a risk reduction system, but it is not a risk elimination system. During Katrina, storm surge rushed into the city when flood walls failed, drowning the lower 9th Ward with water up to roofs. Today, it would be different. These walls should stand, but a strong hurricane coming at just the wrong angle can produce storm surge even higher than these massive walls. Water would pour into the city even without a levee failure, and the calculation is a wrong Category 2 hurricane could be enough to do it. As neighborhoods like the lower 9th Ward rebuild behind the flood walls, there's a new and surprising worry. Officials' biggest concern is complacency. The city hasn't seen a large storm since Katrina, and they are worried people will find reasons not to listen to evacuation orders. Residents need to evacuate, but evacuating isn't easy in the Big Easy. One estimate is that it could take 44 hours to get everybody out of New Orleans and to clear the roads.
Live look now at Lake Charles as residents race to prepare ahead of Ida's landfall. Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Delta will still be on the minds of many residents after both of those storms moved through the region just last year. And adding insult to injury, multiple rounds of thunderstorms may rock the area before Ida makes landfall on Sunday.
All right, so let's talk about Lake Charles here. I know a lot of folks here are certainly very concerned. We do have a lot of watches and warnings up. Lake Charles, you can see you're right on the edge of all of this. So right now, based on what we know, we're going to see some of the worst impacts off to your east. That's based on the current track and timing and everything. So stay tuned, but you can see how we're on that edge, the tight gradient of really heavy rainfall. Much more over towards Lafayette and Baton Rouge compared to Lake Charles, only an inch or two.
And I think this would be the ideal situation for Lake Charles, only to see an inch to maybe 2 inches of rain as this moves onshore, but any wobble to the west, that would certainly change things. The rain that's moving through today as well as tomorrow, that is not related to Ida, but it can cause some flash flooding even ahead of Ida's arrival.
And so we get the impacts from Ida on Sunday. And for us here in southeast Louisiana, this is where we're expecting to be on that eastern side of the circulation, getting the worst of what Ida has to offer. The rainfall, widespread 6 or 7 inches of rain. And you can see that little area in red is even more than that across southern Louisiana right there.
And when we take into account not only the water falling from the sky, but also the storm surge, the tide becomes very important, because if we see high tide at the same time this comes onshore, that certainly would bring a whole other host of problems with even higher water levels. Right now, it does appear that if we see this continue with its track to make a landfall on the later half of Sunday, that would coincide with low tide, and that might give us just a little bit of break there.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than being in high tide. Now, we are going to be looking at rainfall extending far to the east of the center. So all of southern Louisiana, 6 or 7 inches, even to Alabama, Mobile, we could see 6+ inches of rain, and extending over into the western Florida panhandle. Pensacola, 3 or 4 inches of rain are possible out of this.
And you're talking about areas that are well outside of the forecast cone, looking at rain even from Ida. So I do want to take you to the northeast right now and look at some of the flood watches and some flash flooding potential that are up for this area. This does include the highest rainfall potential from Scranton all the way down to D.C. We could see some rain start as early as this afternoon, and heavy rain at that passing through Philly, Baltimore, all the way down to Cape May, potentially seeing some thunderstorms later in the evening and again tomorrow.
Hi, Phil Swift here. When you need maximum coverage and sealing power, take it to the max with FlexMax. Your favorite Flex Seal products are now giant size. Whoa, let me help you with that. Flex Glue Max creates a super strong bond on wet or dry surfaces. And it even works underwater. guys need Flex Seal in Max to seal up large areas. And keep the inside completely dry. Yahoo! Take it to the max with Flex Max.
Here's important information for anyone with an annuity or structured settlement. It's your right to sell all or part of your annuity payments for the cash you need now. Whether you need to make an important purchase, pay off debt, or build a business, call the pros at Peachtree today. We can help you get the cash you need. We're professionals at buying structured settlements.
Hi, I'm Maggie from Peachtree. We've been helping people for over 20 years. We can help you turn your settlement or annuity payments into the cash you need for a new car, housing, or to manage debt. Recently, I helped a customer get money for fertility treatments to start a family. It's your money, and you have the right to use it now.
Get your money faster by calling Peachtree now at 1-800-PEACHTREE. That's 1-800-PEACHTREE. Call today for a no-obligation quote and receive $25. Call now at 1-800-PEACHTREE or visit PeachtreeFinancial.com. Representatives are available now.
The Bissell Crosswave Cordless Max lets you vacuum and wash your floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes. It even freshens area rugs.
And when you buy Bissell, you help save homeless pets.
To learn more, go to BissellCrosswave.com.
It's the biggest sale of the year on the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. It's the most comfortable, dually adjustable, foot warming, temperature balancing, proven quality night's sleep we've ever made. Save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition Smart Bed, plus 0% interest for 60 months. Ends Monday.
When we feel supported from within, our confidence to take on the world outside comes from way deeper. It's within us.
Pumpkin lovers, there's a whole new spin on pumpkin to love at Dunkin'. With our new Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew, topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam, or our Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. Enjoy a medium for $3. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'.
When your family gathers around a Shack-a-Roni from Papa John's, you're sharing more than extra cheese and pepperoni. You're sharing scholarships, meals, and laughter. Because $1 from every Shack-a-Roni goes to charity. That's pizza with a purpose.
I want to break free.
Ready to break free? It's time to get away to a place where we can finally be free.
I've got to break free.
Plan your future getaway with Norwegian. Sail safe. Feel free.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic.
Trusted to be there where and when you need us. Trusted to work around the clock until every threat is over.
We're in this for the long haul.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone. Named the world's most accurate forecaster, the Weather Channel.
The people of coastal Louisiana not taking any chances as we track Ida's path towards the Gulf. Sandbagging centers like these are now open in parishes across the state.
Ida could drop double-digit rainfall on these areas when it arrives at the coast, making flooding a major concern. And Louisiana's governor has urged people in his state to get ready right away.
And now is the time to get ready for Ida. Its threats will run from the coast to communities far away from the shore.
We're talking about heavy rain, wind being some of the biggest problems for people making your weekend plans. But that could include areas even outside of the forecast cone.
All right, but let's go live to Baton Rouge this morning. Storms will start firing today and last into tonight, and not because of the hurricane yet. This is just because we've been in this rainy pattern, and that continues with a little tropical wave. We are 21 inches plus above average for the year. We do not need another drop, and unfortunately, we are squarely in the middle of heavy rainfall from Ida.
And we're going to continue to watch some of those thunderstorms bubble, not only today, but tomorrow ahead of Ida. And then Sunday, here comes Ida approaching the coast of Louisiana. But look at those wind speeds, 120 miles per hour. That is a strong, major hurricane, Category 3. And that would certainly be devastating for areas along the Louisiana coast. We do have hurricane watches out for much of the Louisiana coast that extends into portions of the Mississippi coast, Gulfport. Lake Charles, you're in a a tropical storm watch right now. Other areas in a tropical storm watch that does include coastal Alabama. So they issue watches 48 hours ahead of arrival of a storm. So you're talking about today and tomorrow. That's it. That's all you have to prepare. This is a fast-moving storm. On satellite, looking more and more impressive, like it's starting to take shape. It's starting to fight off some of the shear that it's been battling for the better part of this morning. And we've seen some really strong convective bursts in the center of this, all signs that this is strengthening as it moves towards Cuba. This is the latest from the hurricane hunters. It looks like with their flight right now. You can see not really a lot of data coming in, but as they were passing through and kind of slicing and dicing their way through the storm over the past couple of hours, they did confirm some tropical storm force winds. And also, Jen, they confirmed that the pressure is continuing to drop all the way down to 991 on their last pass.
Yeah, and that does mean that we have a strengthening storm. It's vital to understand your home's vulnerability to tropical weather, and having a family plan before it approaches is very important. Meteorologist Mark Elliott has a checklist of things to do before the storm.
Tropical storms can create conditions that threaten your safety. If your area may be affected by a tropical storm, it's time to take action. Stay informed. Media outlets provide valuable information about what types of emergencies can occur and the best way for you to respond. Follow the instructions issued by your local authorities. If ordered to evacuate, leave when told to do so. During the peak of the storm, it's critical that you stay away from doors and windows. Broken glass and flying debris can cause serious injury or death. Flooding can be the greatest threat from tropical storms, so follow the rainfall forecast and never drive into flooded streets. Staying informed and having a plan will help keep you and your family safe.
So let's look at the rain threat that we have from Ida. And so we've got a widespread area of 3 to 5 inches. That's in yellow. And so that extends to this whole area, southern Mississippi, a good chunk of eastern Louisiana, right? So that's sort of like the bare minimum that you're going to get here. And then we've got a widespread spot that will get 5 to 8, maybe 8+ inches of rainfall. That's in the red zone. And so both models showing us that, all models showing us that, honestly, it's just the exact location of that changes based on where that landfall will be, because we will see most of the rain near and to the east of the center of the circulation. That's how the storm has been shaping up. Now, one thing about New Orleans we got to pay attention to is how much rainfall we get here, knowing that we are below sea level. We're surrounded by water. We got Lake Pontchartrain on one side, the Mississippi River on the other. There's canals all throughout the city as well. So you got to get the water out because gravity's not helping us, right? Pumps are needed to remove the rainfall from the city, and the pumps can remove 1 inch of rain during the first hour of rain and then a 1/2 inch after that per hour, up to 5 inches. But we may have more rain than that coming. And so that's obviously the concern across this area. We've got a look at that forecast here. 6 inches of rain, pretty widespread here throughout all of southeast Louisiana. And you know how rainfall works. Not everyone always gets this exact amount. Some get more, but some get less. And so, it becomes sort of a, game time situation to watch the flooding, to watch the flash flood warnings as the rainfall moves into the area, watching the banding features on the hurricane as it makes its approach towards land. And that's going to be on Sunday as we see that landfall here into southeast, somewhere in southern Louisiana. And so really, into Mississippi, we've got concerns for rain. Throughout Louisiana, concerns for rain. Inland concerns as well. Stay with us here on the Weather Channel as we track Ida.
Visible is wireless that doesn't play games. No surprise fees, legit unlimited data for as little as $25 a month. And the best part, it's powered by Verizon. But it gets crazier. Bring a friend every month and get every month for $5. Which is why I brought them. 2 $5 months right here. Hey. Plus the players of my squad. Then finally, my whole live stream. Boom. 12 months of $5 wireless.
Visible. Unlimited data as low as $25 a month. Or bring a friend and you both get a month for $5. Wireless, it gets better with friends.
At Loan Depot, we know home means everything. As America's lender and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball, we fund more than 30,000 home loans each month, saving you money and providing mortgage solutions that are personalized, convenient, and fast, and tailored to the most important home team of all, yours. Give us a call at 844-751-LOAN or visit us online today. Loan Depot, home purchase, home refinance, and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball.
Attention, everyone on Medicare. If you're over 65, you've seen many things over the years. But this year's COVID-19 virus has taken a toll. That's why calling to make sure your Medicare plan is updated for 2021 is so important. Everyone eligible for Medicare is encouraged to call 800-909-4453 now for your free, no-obligation 2021 Medicare benefits review.
Hi, I'm Danny Glover with an important message for anyone on Medicare. Many of you may qualify to save money or receive additional Medicare-approved benefits at no additional cost. But listen, you don't get these savings or additional benefits automatically.
Millions of Americans may not have all of the Medicare benefits that are available to them right now. If you're not sure if you are eligible, just call the number on your screen now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. With all of the news about the virus and vaccines, it's comforting to know your Medicare benefits are there for you. To make sure you're not missing out on other available Medicare-approved benefits, call the number on the screen right now.
They can see if you're eligible for new benefits like free eyeglasses, prescription drugs, at-home telehealth visits, and over-the-counter allowances. You may be eligible for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, or no copays. Call for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review to make sure you're getting all the benefits you deserve.
Call the number on your screen now for your 2021 Medicare benefits review. You may be able to save money and receive additional benefits. Call now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Call 800-909-4453. That's 800-909-4453. 800-909-4453.
2 out of 3 guys experience hair loss by age 35. Kinda scary. That's why I use Keeps. Keeps offers clinically proven treatments. And the sooner you start, the more hair you can keep. Get started for $1 a day at Keeps.com.
DiGiorno has 7 delicious crusts, and your family food critics will rave. Croissant crust is flaky layers of buttery bliss. Rising crust is fresh baked deliciousness. There's a 5-star pizza for everyone in your family to love. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
The Weather Channel and its climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
At this hour, Tropical Storm Ida is moving away from the Cayman Islands and getting its sights set to Cuba. But its storm path after that has much of the Gulf Coast on alert.
Now, Ida is expected to start building steam once it gets over the open waters of the Gulf. The warm water there will act like gasoline for the system, and it can make landfall along the Gulf as a major hurricane. Louisiana's governor and FEMA are pleading with citizens along the coast to prepare for the possibility of another hurricane, and this comes on the anniversary of last year's Hurricane Laura.
Residents in the Lake Charles area still devastated and trying to recover. Meteorologist Tevin Wooten talked to some of the people as they try to continue to get their lives together in the middle of preparing for another tropical system.
They can no longer afford to live here, and they said that they will never go back. They've been beaten, battered by every single storm. It's been a nightmare.
I can't live in the house right now. The house is unlivable. We flooded out 4 times. We just moved back in about a week, still doing repairs, and then this flood came, so we back and forth. It's depressing and stressful when I drive in the neighborhood. It's a tragedy back here. Just to know that the older people like we are, a lot of us don't have anywhere to go. You know, we need so much assistance back here. Climate is changing, and we're beginning to get devastating storms. And unfortunately, the drainage is not sufficient to keep up with the water, with the downpour. And it's hard to leave this place, but I will have to consider relocating because of the weather change.
We know how hard it's been. I mean, this past year, multiple disasters. We had Laura, we had Delta, we had, an intense winter cold snap, and then we had flooding back in May. Yes, we know Lake Charles, and unfortunately, we are looking at another approach to Louisiana from a hurricane. Now, this one we think is going to be a little further east for Lake Charles. Thank goodness for you here in Lake Charles. But let's look back at Laura. And the surge was a huge factor. I remember, just forecasting and broadcasting at the time here how concerned we were about the life-threatening surge. 13 feet plus, actually, is what was estimated there around Grand Chenier. We had more than 9 feet at Calcasieu Pass. That is a life-threatening surge. Even in Lake Charles, where the wind ended up doing most of the damage, but we had 4.5 feet plus of surge from Lake Charles that got into downtown, causing damage from that as well. So now we fast forward to today and what we're looking at because of Ida. And we've got storm surge watches that are up here all along the coastal areas, including Calcasieu Parish, where we did see that surge last year because of Laura. So here we've got about a 2 to 4 foot surge expected here. There will be some impacts, but the biggest impacts will come along into the east of the center of circulation, which we think is right here across southeast Louisiana, 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. And that's why there have been more mandatory evacuations coming out. We talked to Jefferson Parish president earlier this morning, and now in Grand Isle, there is a mandatory evacuation. We know in parts of Plaquemines Parish, there is a mandatory evacuation. So make sure that you heed the direction of your local emergency managers here, and they put the word out here about who needs to evacuate. When we talk about surge, we also factor in the time of high tide. For us in Grand Isle, the time of high tide comes Sunday into early Monday morning at 3:35 here. And that's when everything, that onshore flow plus the high tide, will be exacerbated. For us in New Orleans, the high tide comes actually on Sunday afternoon at 1:10, and that'll be coming down after that here. You just really don't want to see high tide and the worst of the storm surge happen at the same time. Molly.
Thanks, Jen. Storms dropped more than an inch of rain on Bloomington, Minnesota on Thursday, and you're not going to be able to get a chance to dry out today because, you guessed it, more storms are moving through the northern tier today and potentially again tomorrow. There's actually 2 separate areas of severe weather that we're watching for today. One including Minnesota down to Iowa, stretching over into Wisconsin, where you're seeing some active weather right now. Another separate area that includes Montana and portions of the Dakotas. That's where we could see some discrete supercells later this evening with all modes of severe weather possible. So let's look at the rain right now. It's kind of dropped off a little bit across Iowa. That's good news for you in Mason City because I know you saw a lot of rain in a short amount of time. This is where our strongest storm is. This is the I-41 corridor between Oshkosh and down to Milwaukee. The strongest part of this has moved past the I-41 corridor, but it's headed towards Sheboygan. So a lot of lightning, some gusty winds, as well as some very heavy rain headed your way. We're still watching again for multiple rounds of rain as we go throughout the day in Wisconsin, so you're not done quite yet. We could see more storms start to fire up later this afternoon, especially across the Wausau area, back into Minneapolis, where we've already seen a lot of rain this week alone. And then we could, again, see some storms fire up across the high plains over into portions of Montana. Because we've seen so much rain, we're watching for the potential of flash flooding. Wisconsin, certainly an area that doesn't need any more rain. We certainly could use the rain back in areas like the Dakotas as well as Minnesota. As we get into tomorrow, very similar area stretching from Nebraska all the way up to Minneapolis, where we could see severe weather all over again.
Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara gives you the look of professional lash extensions. Our award-winning formula dramatically lengthens and strengthens lashes with all-day staying power. It's no surprise it has over 1 million 5-star reviews. Join our movement today at thrivecosmetics.com.
So we got pregnant with our daughter in 2016. Then we kind of realized that we needed a regular babysitter.
At Care.com, you can find a babysitter or nanny who's just right for you. Join now, Care.com.
I thought I was managing my moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Then I realized something was missing. Me. My symptoms were keeping me from being there for her. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for people with Crohn's disease. The majority of people on Humira saw significant symptom relief in as little as 4 weeks, and many achieved remission that can last.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, remission is possible.
At Tommy John, we believe you deserve the most comfortable underwear and breathable, supportive, lightweight stretch fabrics for the perfect fit on every guy. We believe in can't believe they never thought of that designs, like our Stay Put waistband and the horizontal quick draw fly. We believe the daily grind should only be in your coffee cup, not in your underwear. Plus, we guarantee no wedgies, no adjustment needed. Feeling is believing. So upgrade now and get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com with this code.
I need to sell my house. Now, there are a lot of places that claim to know how much it's worth, but they don't really know my house or my neighborhood, and they definitely don't show me all my options. That's where HomeLight comes in. I just answer a few questions, and HomeLight gives me a side-by-side comparison of my options, personalized for my needs. And they'll show me what verified buyers will pay for my house right now. It's easy, and it's free. No matter how you choose to sell your home, selling starts at HomeLight. Get started today at HomeLight.com.
This one device is going to change everything. Gaming, entertainment, streaming, health, business. It will literally change how you experience the world. Welcome to the future.
Without the right connection, you've got nothing.
And now give you the future. No, I don't. Maybe the future's over here. Here we go. Nope.
That's why Spectrum Mobile delivers the most reliable service and nationwide 5G, so you're covered.
TracFone Wireless gives you more control. Just swap your SIM card. You can also keep your phone, keep your network, keep your number. $20 a month, no contract. Don't keep that case, though. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
What'd you say this was called again?
Wheatfield Oak.
Feels so good on my face.
Found it on LL Flooring's Picture It tool. See any floor in your house and then voila.
From inspiration to installation, visit LL Flooring.
Labor Day. Celebrate hardworking heroes everywhere.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I love my job.
With a marathon of your favorite shows.
This business is blood, sweat, and tears.
Hot diggity!
Don't you want this job? Don't miss Working Hard Week. Starting Labor Day. Only on the Weather Channel.
A heat advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 92 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy with an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. High 91, chance of rain 50%. Tonight, rain and thunder. Low 73, chance of rain 80%. Saturday, overcast with rain showers at times. High 75. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We take you out live right now to Grand Isle, Louisiana, and you can see a steady stream of cars going in one direction, and that is north. So we have a mandatory evacuation here for Grand Isle. You can see the cars, the trucks here, all in a steady caravan out of town, getting out of harm's way because of Ida coming our way here on Sunday. Now, there also is a mandatory evacuation up for parts of Plaquemines Parish, and we'll bring you more information as we get it on evacuations.
And as this edges closer to the coast, just make sure you're paying close attention to those evacuations because we likely will see more over the next coming hours. This is Tropical Storm Ida right now. Just look how symmetrical it looks. Just, Jen, the 4 hours that we've been on television now, it just is taking shape just pretty dramatically as it pushes towards Cuba. All signs of strengthening pretty rapidly at this point.
No, it looks better, even on the south side. So before, there's shear, and there's still a shear, but there was shear kind of pushing all of the thunderstorm activity to the north and east. But now you can see how it's filling filling in here and starting to get a little more signs of development there. So that's a sign of strengthening.
And if you think it's still fighting some shear right now and it's able to take some shape like that, just imagine what's going to happen as it moves into the Gulf and it really doesn't have to fight that shear anymore.
So we have the projected path for you. Winds at 120 miles per hour expected now at landfall. That is a Cat 3 here, right in the middle of the road, Cat 3. So we are looking at, timing-wise, sometime on Sunday, probably later in the day, afternoon, evening-ish, depending on where. If it comes in farther west, it'll probably come in overnight Sunday into Monday.
And just the thought of rapid intensification, certainly I know it's a tropical storm right now, but again, we are expecting Cat 3 at landfall.
Yeah.
So I know you have some questions about Tropical Storm Ida. We've been answering them all morning long. Richie asks, why do some major hurricanes have larger surge than others? What factors contribute to the higher surge?
Oh, that's a great question, Richie. And it's, and I'm guessing he's from New Jersey because he said Richie, New Jersey, NJ Richards. It depends on the coastline. For one here, the bathymetry, what it's like. And here along the Gulf Coast, very shallow bathymetry, meaning that, it's just sort of a lot of area for that surf to build up as a hurricane moves over top of the water.
And wind speeds are also a factor too, and just the size of a storm as well. So you get that wind that pushes on a larger area of the ocean. The stronger wind affects an area over a long period of time. So you get the fast-moving hurricanes, not as much time for the water to build up, but certainly when you have the higher wind speeds, that comes into account as well.
Yeah, and the shape of the coastline matters too. So if you have a concave area, then that water's just going to build up in there, right? So that makes a difference as well. Stronger storms increase the force pushing on the water, and a 50-mile-per-hour difference in wind can actually raise the surge by several feet. So, there's a lot of factors actually. So not all Cat 3s will create the same kind of surge.
And storm surge, certainly a big concern with Ida, where we're looking at the highest, what you see in red, potentially 7 to even upwards of 11 feet of storm surge. And that would be very devastating for many areas.
Sam asks, do you foresee it tracking more east over time? Well, one of the ways, Sam, that we can answer that question is by looking at some of the ensemble forecasts to see, what is the spread and what the models are looking at in terms of projected path. Because an ensemble takes the starting point and tweaks it a little bit in, 25, 30 times and gives you different outputs. And so this one is the European ensemble. And you can see the range in answers to that. Most of them are over Louisiana. There's one or two farther east, couple farther west, but Louisiana is where there's a lot of focus.
And so this is actually the American model, and you can see how the ensembles, once again, we're all over the place, but then the GFS model forecast takes it kind of right in the center of that. So we do have some potential to see some wobble to the west and to the east, and we'll be watching that every step of the way, but this is looking like a Louisiana landfall at this point.
Based on everything that we know right now.
Well, send us your questions by using the hashtag Hurricane Questions, and we'll try to answer them here on air.
Let's show you what else is happening in the tropics. We have a couple of invests in the Atlantic. We also have something we're watching in the Eastern Pacific.
So let's start with what we have in the Atlantic. This is Invest 98L, and it certainly has a good chance of development over the next 5 days. But the good news is exactly where it is headed.
Yes, the islands are all watching this closely, but you can see the next 5-day development area is moving north.
So as we move over to the Pacific, we're talking about Tropical Storm Nora. Certainly looks pretty good right now and is forecast to gain a little bit of intensity as it pushes to the north.
So we'll watch that approaching the Baja of California. What we'll really watch with Nora actually is the moisture that, even if it's no longer anything named or tropical, we can see that moisture get up into the southwestern U.S., and that will happen next week.
And that could combine with, of course, the monsoon that we have going on, and that could lead to some flash flooding issues along the desert southwest. So something to look out for as we head into the beginning of the upcoming week, and look at that moisture just working its way into areas like Phoenix,
Arizona.
So that could potentially lead to some problems for next week. So something to watch very closely.
All right, stay with the Weather Channel, continuing coverage here on Ida.
My dad and I used to call this place the Devil's Drop. This is awesome.
The legend returns. The all-new ruggedly redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
Band practice, soccer, whatever that is, Nathan is working on. Nobody has time to cook, but the big dinner box from Pizza Hut is the answer. 2 pizzas, wings, breadsticks. It's the easy way to feed the whole family in one box.
No one outpieces the Hut.
You have the best pizza in town and the worst wait times.
Table 4 up.
You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Attention. Medicare recipients are entitled to save money and get significant new benefits at no additional cost.
Hi, folks. Joe Namath here, and if you're on Medicare, this is important. You're now entitled to eliminate copays and get dental care, dentures, eyeglasses, prescription coverage, in-home aids, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals, all at no additional cost. Plus, your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. Look, with the uncertainty of the virus and vaccines, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Here's the bottom line. Call to get significant benefits at no additional cost and see if your zip code has coverage with the Give Back benefit.
I called to get the new benefits and save money, so I'm not spending money I don't have to spend.
With this virus situation, I called to get everything I'm entitled to. I couldn't believe I was missing out on so many benefits.
Reality is, it's a very uncertain year ahead, so you need to be sure your health care coverage is up to date. Call now. It's free.
I called to get dental, transportation, meals, and the Give Back benefit. They helped me so much.
Get dental care, dentures, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals at no additional cost. And your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month.
With the uncertainty of the virus and vaccines, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare coverage helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-442-6400. That's 1-800-442-6400 now.
With SimpliSafe's Video Doorbell Pro, you'll know if the person at your door is friend or foe, or just a late-night cheese pizza with extra meatballs. With my smart lock, I can let him in. Entrez-vous. And I can lock up from right here. Same time tomorrow. So take it from an expert. Get SimpliSafe and protect home like a pro.
Visit SimpliSafe.com for a limited time offer.
When fire and water threaten your home, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com, like it never even happened.
Another weekend, another tropical threat for the U.S., and this one is the real deal. Ida is eyeing the U.S. Gulf Coast for landfall as a major hurricane. We can't stress enough that now is the time to prepare. Life-threatening storm surge and flooding are among the biggest risks for the coast. And after landfall, a lot of these threats are going to be pushing far inland. People are stocking up and gassing up ahead of the storm. Places along the coast, including New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama, are on notice as we get you ready. Welcome to our special coverage. We've got Tropical Storm Ida right now that has been intensifying this morning on its way to becoming a hurricane. Now is the time to prepare. Do not wait. Do not delay. If you are in an evacuation zone, make sure you know what it is. And if officials are telling you to get out, make sure that you do get out. Here's what we know at this hour. The main points that you need to know is that Ida is forecast to approach the northern Gulf Coast on Sunday as a major hurricane. Landfall could be midday or even into the evening hours. Now, damaging winds are expected, and life-threatening storm surge is very likely as well over a large portion of the coast from Louisiana, even all the way over towards the panhandle of Florida. Now, heavy rains are going to be producing flooding along the coast, but also far inland, and we could be talking about double-digit rainfall easily, if not more than that. Here's a look at the latest advisory from Ida, a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm. That's up from the previous advisory. So we are starting to see signs that this is getting its act together and becoming a much more organized system. It's moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. The pressure has dropped down to 996 millibars. It is about 75 miles away from the island of Youth. That's an island there just to the south of Cuba. There is some wind shear, still encountering this on the north and west side of Ida. And imagine that, despite some of that wind shear, it's still managing to intensify. And you can really see it on the visible satellite imagery quite well, that right here near the center, we're seeing a big blow up of showers and thunderstorms. So when it starts to see the worst of the weather very close to the center of the storm, that's one of the signs we watch for in terms of organization. Now, we do have hurricane warnings in effect for western Cuba, tropical storm warnings still for parts of the Caymans. And here's a look at the latest forecast cone. This is going to be spending all of tomorrow over the very warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico and intensifying likely rapidly as it does so. Landfall likely right now sometime on Sunday evening on the Louisiana coastline, but impacts are going to be felt far outside of this cone, and it slows down after it makes landfall. Ray, let's talk a little bit more about some of this intensification. We've seen this from storms before in the warm Gulf waters.
Yeah, and there's plenty of warm water between Ida and where it has to go near the Gulf Coast. That's why we're concerned about rapid intensification in Louisiana. The time to prepare is now. Here's Governor John Bel Edwards.
Understand that the Hurricane Center and the meteorologists are very concerned about this storm because they see all the conditions necessary for it to strengthen very, very rapidly. And we don't have a 5, 6, 7 day advance notice where we would do all of our H-hour sequencing across the state of Louisiana, working with all of the local officials and so forth.
I'd certainly want to listen to those local officials and should be wrapping up preparations today or tomorrow because it's on its way. And as Ida continues to move off to the west, northwest, and eventually northwest, we're going to have some problems here along the Gulf Coast. Now, what's going to be steering Ida, which is now a tropical storm forecast to be a hurricane, is this area of high pressure that sits over the western Atlantic. There's a weak trough over the Yucatan. That's going to help keep it a little further toward the east. But as we go through and watch the evolution of what we think is going to be happening here, Ida's going to get steered to the north as this high continues to build toward the west. So it can't go this way. It'll continue to go a little bit west of north and head right toward the coast here in northern parts of the Gulf. So as Ida gets steered north, we'll continue to see conditions go downhill as we head through the next few days. And this is the center of the storm according to the GFS model. This is Wednesday, and the forecast for what we're expecting as we go through the next few days is, boy, pretty good consensus here in the models is showing where we are expecting, at least with the GFS model, it to go. And then the Euro actually pretty close. I mean, everything's pointing at coastal Louisiana. I mean, sure, there's some outliers here and there, but right now, pretty confident forecast that we're looking for something down the center of this cone. Officially, the center passes between Houma and Morgan City with at least this forecast, but we're going to have a very large wind field, and we're going to have, with that, a lot of heavy rainfall moving inland. So don't pay attention to the center. We're going to see tropical storm force winds and maybe even some hurricane force winds well outside the center, depending on how large that wind field does get. Light winds, favorable outflow, that's all going to lead to more intensification. And look at this. This warm water here is up here in the high 80s to low 90-degree range. So that's why the Hurricane Center is forecasting maybe some rapid intensification right before we see it come on shore here on the Louisiana coast. Now, most of the guidance does keep it at just under category or just into the category 3 range here as a major hurricane, but the Hurricane Center going with an intensity of about 120 miles per hour before we see landfall. Well, with a closer look on how quickly intensification can occur, here's meteorologist Mark Elliott to explain the process.
It's the nightmare scenario. You go to bed prepared for a tropical storm, and you wake up to a Category 3 hurricane accelerating towards your home. Rapid intensification, officially declared when maximum sustained winds increase by at least 35 miles per hour, or about 2 Saffir-Simpson wind scale categories within 24 hours. Storms that undergo these bursts of intensification aren't as rare as you think. One study found roughly 2 out of 3 hurricanes, 8 out of 10 Category 3 or stronger hurricanes, and all Category 4 and 5 hurricanes underwent rapid intensification at least once during their lifetimes. Every month of hurricane season has seen tropical systems undergo rapid intensification, but it's most likely between August and September. Although it's not entirely clear why some storms undergo rapid intensification, research indicates it's likely driven by inner core processes and the environment around the upper level of the storm. That's why you need to follow the forecast and have a plan in place in case you need to act quickly.
All right, well, we could see rapid intensification. That's one thing that we are concerned about here as Ida gets into the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, we don't see anything really standing in its way right now between now and the coast, right?
Right.
Likely intensifying all the way throughout that. In addition to that, it's going to be growing in size. So the wind field is going to be increasing. The surge will be increasing as a result as well. So this is a look at the latest storm surge potential. And this is a level of water that would be above what's normally dry ground. So from about Atchafalaya Bay, stretching all the way over to just west of Biloxi, that's where the worst of the storm surge is predicted right now. Life-threatening storm surge between 7 and 11 feet. But notice, we could even see 3 to 5 foot surge over here towards Mobile Bay. So this is going to have some far-reaching water impacts. Storm size really does matter because the larger storms actually produce that higher surge. And the reason why that happens is because it's a large wind field. So we have a much more a larger area of those winds pushing that water, which agitates everything here into the Gulf, and it affects that area for a longer period of time also. So here's a look at the wave height forecast, and one of the takeaways I want for you with this is look at the size of the storm compared to where it is right now. I mean, this thing engulfs about 2/3 of the Gulf of Mexico, so far-reaching impacts in here. Everybody's going to have at least a minimum of a rip current risk and life-threatening storm surge in other areas. So the wind strength will be a big deal. A major hurricane has winds of 111 miles per hour or more. That's a Category 3 that we consider a major hurricane. And even just a 15 mile per hour difference. That's it. 15 miles per hour might not sound like much, but it can raise your storm surge by several feet as a result. And when we talk about that rapid intensification, Ray, this is a great map because we really see the warm waters or the loop current here that we're expecting this to pass over. And it's not just the warm waters, it's that the warm waters are very deep, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to churn things up, and that means any water that gets churned up is still going to be warm. So that's going to be high octane fuel for this thing to keep going.
Everything coming in place, low shear also. And as you mentioned with the wind field, the Hurricane Center says it right in their discussion. They're expecting the storm to expand, an expanding wind field. That's why we don't pay attention just to where the center crosses the coast. Thanks, Jackie. Here's a live look now. We are in Gulfport, Mississippi. Flooding could be a major problem here. Gulfport has public works staff standing by to help residents fill sandbags today through the weekend at 3 locations across the city. You can check the mayor's office for more information. So should be wrapping up preps there in coastal areas of not only Mississippi, but also as far east, maybe as Alabama, and probably into the Panhandle, at least the western Panhandle. Maybe some water rise there also. But right now, we're looking at the precipitation and the departures from average. This is how much rain is falling and where we are. Plus 8 to 16 inches above normal. And in some cases, we are higher. I know New Orleans, I think you were almost 20 inches above normal in terms of precipitation this year. And that departure from average certainly is not helping when we've got a rainfall forecast by first the European model that puts some of the heaviest rain right where those surpluses are. And we're talking about multiple inches of rain. The GFS is just about the same. It's almost identical. The idea anyway that the heaviest rain in the parishes of southwest Louisiana, previously mentioned Gulfport, and as I said, maybe some floating here as you get out into the Panhandle and even through Mobile Bay. So you're going to have to pay attention, even away from the center, if that's where the center goes, out across southern Louisiana. Flash flooding today from actually some precipitation that's already broken out ahead of Ida. Could be occurring around Lake Pontchartrain and down in through New Orleans and maybe into Pensacola. Here's the rain. So we're talking about very heavy rainfall with some of these thunderstorms, and these thunderstorms could produce flash flooding quickly as they're dropping some heavier rainfall. And then as we get into tomorrow, we're going to watch Ida make its approach probably later in the day, maybe at night, we'll start feeling some of those impacts. And I'd like to give the heads up for anybody in green as we go through Sunday and Sunday night, but it's the area in yellow that we're really concerned most about flash flooding, Jackie. It does look like we are going to see likely flooding southeast Louisiana and into southern parts of Mississippi from rain coming out of the sky.
Yeah, and that's going to go well inland beyond that. Now, we know New Orleans is a special case when it comes to how easily the city can flood. Ida's threat for heavy rainfall will add to the above average rainfall total here already for the year. So far, the city has seen more than 65 inches. That's just about 21 inches above average. It's making it the second wettest year to date on record. So second wettest already. We've got more rain in the forecast, and this is coming before Ida even arrives. Now, we also recently just got word that Orleans Parish, a voluntary evacuation order has been issued, including the city of New Orleans and everybody outside of the levee system that is not protected by the flood walls has a mandatory evacuation that's now been issued. There is a hurricane watch in effect. New Orleans, Grand Isle, really all of southeastern Louisiana, including Baton Rouge, as well as southern parts of Mississippi near the coastal area. So let's talk about some of these unique properties. You know, New Orleans is surrounded by water. We've got Lake Pontchartrain on the northern coast. We've got the Mississippi River on the southern coast. And then we've got the levee system all throughout this area, which has been improved, by the way. I think it was a $200 billion project since Katrina. So it should be able to protect the city, or at least it's designed to do that above what the current storm surge forecast is. But much of this area here, and this is a cross section we're going to kind of zoom in on, is below sea level. In fact, it's really a bowl. It sits down in a low-lying areas. And because of that, it's very difficult to get the water out of here. So the city of New Orleans relies on a pump system to be able to remove that rainfall from the city. And it can only pump out so much so fast. It can remove about an inch of rainfall during the first hour of the rain that comes down. But after an hour, those pumps can really only remove about a half of an inch an hour for 5 hours. Now, we look at the rainfall forecast, and we're easily talking about a half a foot of rain, we think, across this region. But locally, heavier amounts are possible. We could be talking about double-digit rainfall, depending exactly where that center comes in, because the heaviest rain, we think, will be to the right of the center of the storm, and that could make New Orleans extremely vulnerable. Of course, Ray, all the other threats, but flooding may be the biggest concern here.
Yeah, flooding, you know, not only from the Gulf, but also from what's coming out of the sky. Thanks, Jackie. And, you know, we're going to have to be concerned, too, about what's going to be happening here. We're going to go live now into what looks pretty nice, Jackson, Mississippi. Look at this. Boy, the calm before the storm. You said it. A little bit inland, but there is a potential for strong winds, heavy rain, and some isolated flash flooding. So this is one of those inland flood threats that we do talk about as you watch a storm come in. The forecast actually for slowing down. So the forward speed slows down, and maybe a tropical storm when it reaches this part of the state of Mississippi. So we're going to have to be concerned about what has already happened. We've had pretty soggy conditions here. This is that catastrophic event that happened west of Nashville and Waverly over the last 7 days. We've seen a decent amount of rain across the southeast. Also, western North Carolina still cleaning up in Haywood County, but we're going to see more rain on top of this. Once again, the Euro model showing where some of that heavy rain, multiple inches, maybe 5 to 8 inches of rain on average in the areas in orange. So that puts it through most of the state of Mississippi and down into Louisiana, too. That's where the real heavy rain is going to fall. And GFS, the U.S. model, just about the same idea, same area. Heaviest rain from this model also comes right up through the heart of Mississippi, northwest Alabama, and in through Tennessee and heading on up the spine of the Appalachians. So we're going to have to be concerned about inland flooding as we go through Sunday now. We'll watch Ida make its approach and then move inland, slow down a bit as a tropical storm now as we get into Monday, and then it'll head off to the northeast and get turned away. Depression here as it sits over Tupelo. Jackson, notice you are in heavy rain, probably even Birmingham, and even on up the coast here, or up the spine of the Appalachians, starting to see some of that heavier rain come through as we get into Wednesday. So this may be a prolonged rain event and a slow mover, which is what's going to lead to the biggest impacts. Even some of the areas down here, some of these river flooding areas, we are going to continue to see maybe some flooding. All right, we've got an update here from the Hurricane Center. We now have a hurricane. Ida has strengthened to a 75-mile-per-hour storm. We now have Hurricane Ida now sitting out over the Western Caribbean.
Here's important information for anyone with an annuity or structured settlement. It's your right to sell all or part of your annuity payments for the cash you need now. Whether you need to make an important purchase, pay off debt, or build a business, call the pros at Peachtree today. We can help you get the cash you need. We're professionals at buying structured settlements.
Hi, I'm Maggie from Peachtree. We've been helping people for over 20 years. We can help you turn your settlement or annuity payments into the cash you need for a new car, housing, or to manage debt. Recently, I helped a customer get money for fertility treatments to start a family. It's your money, and you have the right to use it now.
Get your money faster by calling Peachtree now at 1-800-PEACHTREE. That's 1-800-PEACHTREE. Call today for a no-obligation quote and receive $25. Call now at 1-800-PEACHTREE or visit PeachtreeFinancial.com. Representatives are available now.
It's time for the biggest sale of the year on the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. It helps keep you effortlessly comfortable by sensing your movements and automatically responding to both of you. And it's temperature balancing to help you stay comfortable all night. It even tracks your circadian rhythm so you know when you're at your best. In other words, it's the most energy-building, wellness-boosting, parent-powering, proven quality night's sleep we've ever made. Don't miss our weekend special where all smart beds are on sale. Save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus 0% interest for 60 months. Ends Monday.
At Lovesac, we design furniture for life. Real life. Messy life. Life that changes and brings us together for movie night. A life where styles evolve, and it's fun to try something new. Life where storage is in short supply, and batteries run down and get charged up again. Washable, changeable, and guaranteed for life. Experience Sactionals at a Lovesac showroom near you.
At U-Haul, we know moving can be stressful.
Hey guys, can you all help us move?
It's tough to find the right help for the job.
I'm busy that weekend. Sorry, man. I didn't tell you what weekend.
That's why we created MovingHelp.com. MovingHelp.com is an online marketplace for booking reliable, affordable muscle for your move.
Thank you.
Find the right team for the right time at a locked-in price. Safe, convenient, reliable. Moving Help, powered by U-Haul. Your move made easier.
Oh, you're doing it wrong, man.
What's wrong with action figures?
Nothing. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies.
Whoa.
I look good in miniature. Capital One Shopping. What's in your wallet?
My dad and I used to call this place the Devil's Drum.
This is awesome. The legend returns. The all-new, ruggedly redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel. And America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Don't let anyone tell you there are things we cannot change. We've done hard things before. We'll face hard things again, but we're doing it. Thousands of people will live simply because a whole bunch of people in here keep making medicine better. So if anyone ever tells you there's no other way,
don't listen.
We find a way. Mount Sinai.
TracFone Wireless gives you more control. Just swap your SIM card. You can also keep your phone, keep your network, keep your number. $20 a month, no contract. Don't keep that case, though. Oh. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
What'd you say this was called again?
Wheatfield Oak.
Feels so good on my face.
Found it on LL Flooring's Picture It tool. See any floor in your house and then voila.
From inspiration to installation, visit LL Flooring.
A heat advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 91 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 92. Winds light and variable. Tonight, rain and thunder. Low 73. Chance of rain 80%. Saturday, cloudy with showers. High 75. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
When it comes to covering the most important issue facing us and our Earth, one day does make all the difference. Now, the Weather Channel and its innovative climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. For what's now and what's next, rely on the climate experts with the most trusted name in TV news. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
Ida is now officially a hurricane. Latest data from the Hurricane Hunter show pressure dropping and wind speeds going up to 75 miles per hour. So we do have a minimal Cat 1 hurricane. It's dropped since last report from 996 millibars to 987. So pressure falls, winds go up, continuing to see movement off to the northwest at 15. And forecast for continued strengthening now. The next threshold would be up to 95 miles per hour. That's where Cat 1 ends. Category 2 begins at 96. So we'll see how it goes over the next 12 to 24 hours. Certainly going to get into an even more favorable environment for strengthening as we go on through the next couple of days and the upcoming weekend. Hurricane Center does bring it to a 120 mile per hour storm just before landfall as it gets into the warm water out into the Gulf of Mexico. All right now you can kind of see why we're seeing this intensification from the satellite picture. Anytime you kind of see those high, thin, wispy clouds, that's high pressure aloft, and that is a favorable environment also for development or strengthening. And then as it moves into the Gulf too, we've got pretty limited wind shear. There is some out there, but right now not enough to do too much to this storm, which is also going to be expanding in terms of the wind field. So you'll see that cloud deck continue to go west and east of the center, and that's why we'll tell you not to concentrate just on the center of Ida as it makes its approach. Isle of Youth and near Havana, we've got hurricane and tropical storm warnings. We're within that 24-hour window, or we are there with some of the stronger winds starting to move in through the western island of Cuba. And then the forecast track in the Hurricane Center's cone does take the center right about here by Sunday evening, and that puts the center between Morgan City and Homa, at least right now. Now, of course, we can go on either side of this, so I would still say we are paying attention all along the northern Gulf Coast for where the center may go and also where the impacts will be. And that's going to be well away from the center. As I mentioned, we are going to have an expanding wind field, an expanding storm in terms of its diameter. So that's why everybody's going to have to pay attention here for what's going to be the latest coming up. Now, we're probably within the 48-hour window here for the hurricane watches and tropical storm watches. They'll likely get upgraded to warnings, Jackie, as we head on through probably the next few hours and maybe even on into the nighttime hours tonight and certainly by tomorrow.
All right, so let's talk about some of the coastal threats and impacts even inland once Ida arrives. We're looking live now at New Orleans, and you can see it's already raining here. This has nothing to do with Ida. This is a non-tropical area of low pressure that's bringing in tropical light downpours from time to time and could bring some flash flooding. Now, Orleans Parish, including the city of New Orleans, are now under voluntary evacuation orders. It's voluntary, but if you're outside of the levee system, it turns mandatory. So do not delay. If you're being told to get out, if you're outside of that levee system, get out and do it as quickly as you possibly can. Grab all your things. Make sure you got your kid. Don't forget about your pets. Check on your neighbors. If you have the means to do so, I would recommend it. Here's the latest with the storms that are pushing in. As I mentioned, this is a non-tropical area of low pressure, but it is bringing in some heavy downpours, already above average in terms of rainfall in southeastern Louisiana by more than a foot for the year. And we're talking about a half of a foot or more rainfall expected through the duration. We will likely see banding and rain continue across this region through at least Tuesday. And we've got flash flooding possible today on the lead up. So it's never a good situation when you've got heavy downpours and tropical downpours that could lead to flash flooding already before we even start to see some of those impacts. This could affect your preparations today. So do your best to work around them, but don't be silly and get caught out there in a downpour with lightning, because you know that is dangerous and deadly. It can be, certainly. So there you can see continuing through tomorrow. We'll continue to have these downpours, Ray, but by Sunday, they'll start to feel the impacts, likely as in the early morning hours. Those tropical storm force winds will be arriving.
That's right. Well away from where the center is going to be and when it makes landfall. Mobile, another place that will have at least some impacts. The question is going to be, do you have tropical storm impacts or less or even greater? I mean, that potential is still there, but a tropical storm watch is in effect in a city that right now for the year has a surplus in rain, 8.94 inches, but it's been relatively dry of late, 2.14 below normal in terms of rainfall for the month. But it's coming, and right now a 4 to 5 inch rainfall forecast. And this is just going to be the average rain across the area. Certainly on this current forecast, you may get less, you may get more. So you should be continuing with your preps for, especially around Mobile Bay and the coast, for what's going to be probably a surge here as the storm comes into your west, and then also rain falling. That's also going to cause additional flooding. That's why we've got it possible here in southern Alabama, even as far west as Pensacola or near Pensacola here in the panhandle of Florida. Jackie?
Well, we'll take you to Pensacola now. Let's talk about some of these impacts into the panhandle. I know a lot of you actually are still recovering from Sally of last year. Flash flooding is going to be one of the concerns that we have going forward. But in addition to that, even if you don't get much in terms of some of the bandings, I do think we're going to have some rough waters, and the risk of rip currents and some coastal flooding and beach erosion is certainly a possibility. So unless you get stuck in one of these heavier bands, I think the farther west you are, the more likely that's going to be. Expecting 1 to 3 inches of rainfall.
Our strength, our power, our purpose starts within. So let's start there, with collagen that supports our body from the inside out.
When selling your home, one wrong move can cost you thousands of dollars. You need a top real estate agent who will do things right. Sell your home fast and at a great price. Introducing HomeLight, the breakthrough way to sell your home. HomeLight has detailed stats on the top real estate agents and home sales in your neighborhood. Nearly 1 million people have used HomeLight to find experienced agents they can trust to sell their homes faster and for more money. Start for free at HomeLight.com.
Attention, everyone on Medicare. If you're over 65, you've seen many things over the years, but this year's COVID-19 virus has taken a toll. That's why calling to make sure your Medicare plan is updated for 2021 is so important. Everyone eligible for Medicare is encouraged to call 800-659-8109 now for your free, no-obligation 2021 Medicare benefits review.
Hi, I'm Joan London. Many of you may qualify to save money or receive Medicare-approved benefits at no additional cost. But you don't get these savings or additional benefits automatically.
Millions of Americans may not have all of the Medicare benefits that are available to them right now. If you're not sure if you are eligible, just call the number on your screen now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. With all of the news about the virus and vaccines, it's comforting to know your Medicare benefits are there for you. To make sure you're not missing out on other available Medicare-approved benefits, call the number on the screen right now.
They can see if you are eligible for new Medicare benefits like free eyeglasses, prescription drug home delivery, expanded at-home telehealth visits, and an over-the-counter allowance for things like pain relievers or skincare products. You may even be eligible for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, or no copays. Call for your free no-obligation Medicare benefits review to make sure you're getting all the benefits you qualify for.
Call the number on your screen now for your 2021 Medicare benefits review. You may be able to save money and receive additional benefits. Call now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Call 800-659-8109. That's 800-659-8109. 800-659-8109.
At Home with Robert, retired burglar and family man.
Setting up Simply Safe is so easy. You could do it blindfolded. But I wouldn't recommend it. Anyone can do it in less than 30 minutes.
Welcome to Simply Safe.
No tools or wiring needed, and voice prompts guide you.
Motion sensor detected.
Well, that was easy.
Strawberries, blueberries, and the cherry on top. Fairlife, with 50% more protein, 50% less sugar, and the creamy taste, turns scrumptious into scrumptious. Fairlife, ultra-filtered milk.
This Labor Day,
Celebrate hardworking heroes everywhere.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I love my job.
With a marathon of your favorite shows.
This business is blood, sweat, and tears.
Hot diggity!
Don't you want this job? Don't miss Working Hard Week, starting Labor Day, only on the Weather Channel.
We are tracking Ida, now a hurricane, and here's the very latest on what we know. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards has declared a state of emergency and is asking President Biden for a federal disaster declaration. Hurricane hunters and other associated aircraft at Kessler Air Force Base in Mississippi will relocate from Biloxi to San Antonio. And we have now mandatory evacuations beginning at 3 p.m. for Plaquemines Parish in Louisiana. So, Jackie, we are looking at what looks to be most likely a landfalling hurricane and maybe a major hurricane.
Yeah, likely a major hurricane. This is already getting stronger than we thought, before it ever got to Cuba, getting close to the Isle of Youth right now. And there's really nothing in its way to prevent it from continuing to getting stronger ahead. And when we think about Cuba and Western Cuba, Cuba can be very mountainous, but Western Cuba is a lot flatter. So I don't think it's going to do a lot, if anything, to slow down that intensity. So let's get to some of the bullet points of what we know right now of Ida. Ida is now a hurricane with maximum sustained winds. The hurricane hunters went in there and they confirmed that the winds are that strong so that it now is a Category 1. It is forecast to approach the northern Gulf Coast on Sunday as a major hurricane. And what we mean when we say major hurricane, we mean a Category 3 or stronger. And the winds in a Category 3 storm are at least 111 miles per hour. So damaging winds, obviously a huge concern here, as well as the risk of power outages. Life-threatening storm surge is also going to be likely. Heavy rains are going to be producing flooding along the coast, but also inland. And after landfall, our storm is going to slow down, and we could see some torrential downpours and flooding in the state of Mississippi, even into Alabama. And we got to watch Tennessee for that as well. Here are the latest statistics. And the other thing that concerns me, too, is that we've seen a very significant drop in the pressure. From the last advisory, we were at 996, and now we've gone down to 987. When the pressure drops, we tend to see an uptick in those winds, and that's what we can expect continue to go forward. So this is about 30 miles away from the coast now of the Isle of Youth. That's that little island just to the south of Western Cuba. It's going to be moving over Cuba later today and into tomorrow morning. This is going to be back out over the open waters into the Gulf of Mexico, where we have high octane fuel. It's that warm water, deep warm water, that will allow that to continue to intensify, and it will likely do so rapidly. The official forecast now has it at 120 mile per hour major hurricane as it makes landfall sometime on Sunday, likely late on Sunday. Here's a look at the visible satellite imagery, and the main takeaway with this is that it really shows you more of the structure of the storm, and you can see just how circular this is. It looks symmetrical, doesn't it? It looks like a circle, basically, and yesterday it was very lopsided. We had all the action happening on the east and northeastern quadrant, and now that's beginning to change, which shows us the storm is getting more and more organized. So just a closer up view of the timing of all of this. We mentioned landfall likely as a major hurricane on Sunday evening. Look at where it goes by Monday morning, and then by Tuesday morning, perhaps Mississippi and Arkansas. When we start getting the bulb at the end of a cone, that doesn't mean our uncertainty is really great. It means this is going to be slowing down. So that is going to be with us, Ray, I think, through at least the middle of the week.
Yeah, and so this is a good time, too, to remind you about storm surge. It's often the greatest threat to life and property from a hurricane. Storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel shows us why.
Storm surge is a devastating killer that can destroy coastal homes, travel miles inland, and find its way to your house with terrifying consequences. This is why you evacuate. Water invades your home, and within minutes you're trapped. A few inches can knock out the power. Furniture floats as the water rises. And by 3 feet, you better get your family to that second floor or even the attic and make sure you have a way to get out in case you're trapped there. You also don't know when the water's going to stop rising. By 6 feet, this is truly life-threatening. This water's above my head and destroying all of these belongings. There are sharp objects, broken glass, and hazardous chemicals all around. And a storm surge of 9 feet. Well, that is at the ceilings of most homes. Don't get caught in this horrible and deadly nightmare. I urge you to listen to local officials and evacuate when you're ordered to do so.
All right, and what's coming is a 4 to 7 foot water rise here in some areas in Orange, and the greatest in a very surge-prone area in southeast Louisiana. So this could be a 7 to 11 foot rise. Now remember, that's above dry ground, so that gets into New Orleans and around Lake Pontchartrain and many of these parishes here down across parts of southeast Louisiana. We are expecting to see a significant water rise. That's why we've got storm surge watches in place now. These are upgraded to warnings when it's felt appropriate from the Hurricane Center. These are where we are expecting to see the greatest water rise. But even as we had said, out near Mobile Bay and off to the west, out near Lake Charles, there still could be some higher water rise.
Some carriers give you so little for your old or busted phone. Not Verizon. You dunk it, crash it, doggy bone it. We upgrade it. Up to $800 for the 5G phone you want. Plus, get $500 when you switch. Because everyone deserves better.
Do you take aspirin? Plain aspirin could be hurting your stomach. New Vazalore is the first liquid-filled aspirin capsule clinically shown to cause fewer ulcers than plain aspirin. Vazalore is designed to help protect, releasing aspirin after it leaves your stomach, where it is absorbed to give you the benefits of life-saving aspirin to help prevent another heart attack or stroke. Heart protection with your stomach in mind. Try new liquid-filled Vazalore. Aspirin made amazing.
Hi, if you're on Medicare, you got to hear this. I watch a lot of TV and see a whole lot of commercials about Medicare benefits. So I finally called to see if I was missing out on any extra Part C benefits and if I could really get money added to my Social Security check. The agent said I'm eligible to eliminate copays and also for several extra benefits, including transportation, meals, expanded dental and prescription coverage, all at no extra cost. Plus, I'm eligible for $1,500 a year added to my Social Security check. I was like, wow, thank you so much. Call right now to see if you're missing any extra savings, benefits, and money you deserve. I trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-605-1298. That's 1-800-605-1298 now.
Stunning. You did this? You could totally be a designer.
Rugs USA is my secret weapon. They make it easy to find a rug that pulls a room together.
Wait, are these prices for real?
Yes.
Go to rugsusa.com/TV for an extra 10% off now. Always free shipping.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable and inconvenient. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most.
24 days we were without power. I had water, I had ice, I had coffee, I had air conditioner. I was able to stay here because of the Generac.
Get the security and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac with thousands of satisfied customers.
Very good product. Very, very good reviews from everybody.
Prices start at just $19.99, and owning a generator is easier than ever. Act now, and you can purchase and install a Generac home standby generator for as little as $99 a month with no down payment. You will also receive a free 7-year warranty valued at $695. Hurry, this offer ends September 12th. Call or go online now.
William Hayes is here to help. He helps find what his customers need. And that includes helping them find the best prices on medications at their pharmacy with GoodRx.
Have you tried GoodRx?
Actually, that's a good idea.
You can save a lot of money with it. Look, you save $60 a month. You're all set?
Thank you.
Glad I could help.
You're good with GoodRx.
All right, making preps here in Gulfport, Mississippi. Plenty of tropical moisture. That just looks tropical. And this tropical moisture is out ahead of Ida's arrival along the northern Gulf Coast. Although impacts will be felt way out ahead of the center, we're starting to see showers, thunderstorms already hampering some of the preparations like filling sandbags. Imagine being outdoors, filling sandbags, and you get these clusters of thunderstorms that may come through. That's possible even out ahead of any of the impacts that Ida does make. Speaking of, we now do have a Category 1 hurricane, fourth hurricane of the Atlantic hurricane season. 75-mile-per-hour winds. Pressure has dropped from 996, moving northwest at 15, and starting to look much better, meaning worse, on the satellite picture as it moves on off toward the northwest. Seeing that fanning out of the high clouds, meaning high pressure aloft in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That supports development. And then moving into very warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. Up here, this water is 90 degrees. 80 is the threshold for tropical systems to develop. And you can see here clearly that we've got also what we've been talking about is an expanding wind field. That wind field will be increasing in radius from the center, so the diameter of the storm as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico will be a sight to see. Hurricane warnings up and tropical storm warnings on the island of Cuba, the island of Youth, and the Cayman Islands here, tropical storm warning. Those impacts most likely will be less as we go through the next few hours into tonight. Hurricane Center is forecasting a 120-mile-per-hour Category 3 storm as it gets into that 90-degree water and approaches the Louisiana coast. Now, again, this is where the center may pass. So pay attention to not only where the center may go, where the strongest winds will be, but also pay attention to away from the center. If we have a track toward the west, more impacts over here, less here. And conversely, if we have a track over further toward the east, which is still possible, we could have more impacts here than we would obviously out of the Texas coast. And then it moves inland, and then we've got a problem with inland flooding. And then we're going to have numerous places that are going to experience tropical storm to hurricane force winds. So tropical storm in yellow, tropical storm conditions within 48 hours, and hurricane watches up in orange. That's where we may see hurricane conditions start moving in here within 48 hours. So, Jackie, the window's tightening on, making your preparations for Ida as it approaches.
Yeah, got to do it now, that's for sure. We want to talk a little bit more about some of the inland impacts because this is not just a coastal storm. And when Ray is talking about the size of the system, this is going to have far-reaching impacts to the east, to the north, to the west of this as well. And the ground is already quite saturated. Sticking out like a sore thumb is the 17-plus inches of rain that fell in Waverly, Tennessee. But notice widespread amounts in the deep south here and in the Florida Panhandle. Anywhere between 2 to as much as 5 inches of rain in the last week. Now, this is the Euro model showing you that heavy rainfall stretching and extending all the way up into Tennessee and into southern Kentucky. This orange color that you see here, that's as much as 5 to 8 inches of rainfall. So if you live in Jackson, if you live in Oxford, if you live in Greenville, even if you live in northern parts of Alabama, including you in Huntsville, you may be dealing with heavy enough rainfall that it could lead to some flash flooding. This is the GFS model. The GFS slams southeastern Louisiana a little bit more, but still brings hefty totals across eastern Mississippi, western Alabama, across parts of Tennessee, including you in Nashville, but also notice the big numbers here into the panhandle of Florida. So anywhere in orange there, that's 5 to 8 inches. That yellow color, 3 to 5. So this all gets started by early Sunday morning. This will continue through the day. Monday becomes more expansive as this begins to spread that rain shield farther to the north. By Tuesday morning, it's still only over northern parts of Mississippi, whatever the remnants are, and then works its way here towards the central Appalachians. And of course, Ray, always a little dicey when we're dealing with the terrain here across that part of the country.
Yeah, get some upslope on the southeast side and the east side of the Appalachians, and that rain unwelcome. This is Waverly in Tennessee. They're still reeling from deadly flash flooding that overwhelmed the city last weekend, left 20 people dead. Waverly is in recovery and cleanup mode now. Almost 1 in every 15 homes in Humphreys County was damaged by the extreme flooding, record-breaking flooding for the state, and more rain to come, unfortunately, as we need to make preparations for what could be another heavy rain event and maybe additional flooding. This is the estimated rainfall over the last 7 days. Notice this area just east of Waverly, over 12 to 18 inches of rainfall. There's a state record. I think we approached it, just got over 18 or 19 inches with a record, but the forecast now overlaid there shows where we're going to see 3 to 5 inches of rain right in and around Waverly. So I'm going to say close enough because this isn't exact. Same thing with the USGFS model. They've got the heavier rain a little further east, but still anywhere from maybe 1 to 4 inches of rain possible in and across this part of Tennessee. And even Nashville is going to get heavy rain and going to be in on the flash flood threat. So here's your rain Tuesday into Wednesday, rain with thunderstorms. That's where you may get some of your heavier tropical downpours when you get those band features to come on in, which we may still see as the low continues to weaken, most likely from tropical storm to depression at this point. Hopefully we'll get some drier air back in as we look ahead toward later in the week as temperatures get back into the 80s. So start prepping now and stay with the Weather Channel as we track Ida. Download our app on your TV. Existing cable subscribers and satellite subscribers can get the Weather Channel on Roku, Fire Stick, and on your smart TV for 24-hour access to the latest alerts, forecasts, local radar, and live coverage. We'll have it all weekend for you here on the Weather Channel.
The Subaru Forester. Dog tested, dog approved.
Men everywhere are now cutting their hair at home. Are you? Introducing MicroTouch Titanium Trim, the all-new at-home hair cutting tool and precision groomer. Just a trim or a full haircut. Now, cutting hair is as easy as combing hair.
It's the only way to cut your hair by yourself. I don't know how people can do it with clippers. It's impossible. With this, it's way easier.
I did this at home. If you can comb it, you can cut it. Simple.
Titanium Trim reinvents everything with a revolutionary design that positions the blades on the side just like a comb, making it easy to cut your own hair with confidence. Now, if you can comb it, you can cut it. Snap on a comb to dial in the perfect length for your style, long, medium, or short, and just comb and cut for pro-level results at home.
I just pop on that comb and I get a perfect trim every time. I literally can't make a mistake.
I can give myself a professional at-home haircut how I like it.
Sometimes I just need a little bit off, and that's what's great about this product. You have these guards, and you just take a little bit off. Okay, I'm good.
Now, if you can comb it, you can cut it. Snap off the comb and edge sideburns and beards, or clear your neck and shoulders with zero irritation. And look, Titanium Trim extends a full 40 millimeters for those hard-to-reach areas. Nothing else comes close.
I thought it was really cool that it can extend. It really helps.
That extra little extension made it so easy. I would never use any other clippers. This is the one to use.
Micro-polished stainless steel blades bonded with titanium, precision-engineered comb attachments, built-in extension handle with a non-slip grip and LED spotlight. Just comb it and cut it with MicroTouch Titanium Trim. Order online now at titaniumtrim.com or call 1-800-453-1220.
Nobody can get to their barber as much as they'd like anymore, but now you don't have to.
If you don't have it, you better get it.
The revolutionary, all-new MicroTouch Titanium Trim.
There's never been a better time to switch to Spectrum Mobile. You could save up to 40% on your monthly mobile bill. Plus, there are no added taxes, hidden fees, and no contracts. Use the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator. And in 3 easy steps, you'll instantly see how much money you could save by switching to Spectrum Mobile. See for yourself. Visit spectrummobile.com/save today.
Ashley Home Store's Labor Day sale is going on now. Get up to 30% off. Plus, get an additional 10% off outdoor furniture. Or get 6 years no interest. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Feels good to be home.
Are your sneezes putting your friends in awkward positions? Stick with Zyrtec. Zyrtec starts working hard at hour 1 and works twice as hard when you take it again the next day. Zyrtec, muddle no more.
Innovative climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. Rely on the climate experts with the most trusted name in TV news. If it's out there, it's in here, the Weather Channel.
A heat advisory is in effect. Currently in our area, 92 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, partly cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High 92. Winds light and variable.
Tonight, rain and thunder. Low 73. Chance of rain 80%. Saturday, cloudy with showers. High 75. Chance of rain 80%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Named the world's most accurate forecaster, the Weather Channel.
Hey guys, Ricky here. Now, did you know that when the interior of your car heats up in the summer or even in the winter, the temperatures can be as high as 190 degrees, releasing harmful toxins? I didn't know that part. This happens because the sunlight goes through our windshields and sort of creates a greenhouse effect. This is a fact, and it's kind of scary. So, if you are the kind of person that, uses the old-fashioned tinfoil thing in your windshield, you need to hear this. But if you are the type of person that does absolutely nothing about protecting the interior of your car, and we're learning protecting your health, you really need to hear this. I found a cool product for us called the Brella Shade. It is a pop-up windshield protector umbrella. So it's got a cool fabric that blocks the UV light from coming in the car, destroying the car, and creating these toxins, but it's also a really slick umbrella. It's a strong, I love this thing, it's strong, it has a little sleeve that protects it. You remember when you were a kid and you get in, you're like burning. We don't have to have any of that anymore. It's really great outside as an umbrella. That's what I'm excited about. It's both of these things. So I personally don't want to keep one of those clumsy tinfoil things in my car, but I will keep an umbrella under the seat or in the glove box. Good news for us at the Weather Channel. We're going to get 20 to 25% off this, but it comes in a 2-pack, and it also comes in a deluxe 2-pack with an even stronger fiberglass frame. So go to weatherdeals.com, pick up Umbrella Shade. You'll be glad you did. Your car will be glad you did, and it comes in a 2-pack.
Welcome back. New information right now as we continue to track Hurricane Ida. It's now made landfall, its first landfall in Cuba on the Isle of Youth. It is a Category 1 hurricane, maximum sustained winds at 75 miles per hour. Our pressure has dropped fairly significantly, so this is an intensifying storm. It's moving to the north and west around 15 miles per hour, so it's a fairly decent rate of speed, and it is expected to continue to intensify as this moves back over the open waters here into the Gulf of Mexico as we head into tomorrow. So a big difference in the satellite imagery compared to what we were dealing with yesterday. It was a very disorganized, very lopsided tropical depression, and now we've got a hurricane which looks very symmetrical. We can see some outflow with this as well on the visible satellite, and it's just looking like a much healthier tropical cyclone at this time. Hurricane warnings remain in effect for the Isle of Youth as well as much of western Cuba, with tropical storm warnings on the periphery of that to the east of Havana. So this is going to continue to move north and west and work over the mainland western parts of Cuba later on this afternoon and into tonight. Now, the approach on the U.S. coastline is going to be pushing in by Sunday morning. I think tropical storm impacts could happen by the time you wake up. So you really need to rush to completion any of your preparations and any evacuations that you are planning. If officials are telling you to go on this one, you need to go. This is the real deal. This is likely going to be a major hurricane at landfall with all of the hazards that come with that, including damaging winds, life-threatening storm surge, and some flooding rain with this as well. Hurricane watches are in effect now for all of southeastern Louisiana. This includes you in Baton Rouge. This includes you in New Orleans and southern Mississippi, too. This includes you in Gulfport and Biloxi, with tropical storm watches on the periphery of all this for Lake Charles and then over towards Mobile and just west of Pensacola. These will likely be changed with time today and upgraded to warning. So, folks, we're getting down to the wire. We've got the rest of today. We pretty much have all day tomorrow as well. But before you go to bed tomorrow night, Ray, folks need to be where they're going to be to ride out this storm.
Yeah, and several parishes in Louisiana have announced voluntary evacuations and mandatory evacuations in Plaquemine Parish and Orleans Parish outside the levee system.
In advance of every hurricane season, planning for the possibility of evacuation is always critical, even more so this year with the ongoing pandemic, which complicates things, but you still will need to evacuate when told to do so from storm surge near the coast, out of mobile homes. And there are things you need to do at your home before you leave, and they have to do with dealing with the possibility of flooding and deal with the possibility of strong winds. Now, with water possibly getting into your home while you're gone, which is why you don't want to be there because that would be life-threatening, authorities might actually tell you to turn off your utilities, your electricity, your water before you leave, because afterwards, electricity coming back on into a flooded home would not be a good combination. You also want to unplug all your electrical devices before you leave and elevate anything that you don't want to be flooded that you can't take with you. Take furniture up to the second floor. Get things up onto a high shelf. Now, when it comes to wind, you do want to protect your home from that before you leave. Don't tape those windows. That's a waste of time. It's not going to stop the windows from breaking. You're going to be scraping that tape off afterward. Put up the shutters and the plywood before you go, and you want to make sure that you take everything out of the yard that could become flying debris. And of course, you got to pack those supplies before you go